Chapter 140. Early in the morning, the air was fresh and the flowers were fragrant. Tang Zheng stretched and found that Feng Shishir was still sleeping. Her face was filled with a satisfied and happy smile, which was exceptionally beautiful. Last night, the two of them were very busy and only fell asleep in the middle of the night. Besides the last time they had intimate contact at Tang Zheng's new home, this was only the second time, so they didn't stop there. Instead, it was as fierce as a storm. Feng Shishir seemed to have adapted to him. She was immersed in this wonderful feeling and kept taking. Fortunately, Tang Zheng's stamina was strong enough. Of course, he completely conquered her, not only her heart but also her body. Tang Zheng was used to waking up early. Although he slept very late and consumed a lot of energy, his body was different from ordinary people. He didn't feel uncomfortable at all. Instead, he was in high spirits. He also absorbed a lot of purine energy last night, so he wasn't in danger of exploding for a while. Feng Shishir's delicate face was flushed red, and her eyelashes suddenly blinked. Tang Zheng saw it and knew that she was already awake and was just pretending to be asleep. So he deliberately stretched his hand under the blanket and grabbed onto the softness that refreshed his heart. Her body trembled slightly. Although the two of them were very intimate, her body was still sensitive. Tang Zheng's gentle touch could make her heart tremble. Seeing that she was still pretending to be asleep, Tang Zheng simply increased the strength of his movements. Ah! Feng Shishir finally couldn't help but cry out softly. She opened her eyes and said coquettishly, "Doing bad things so early in the morning. You're asking for a beating." Last night, it seemed that someone liked my naughtiness very much and wanted me to be even naughtier. Tang Zheng's mouth slightly curved and said with a naughty smile, "Don't say it, don't say it." Feng Shishir hurriedly sat up and covered Tang Zheng's mouth. The quilt slipped down to her waist, and the alluring scenery of her upper body was exposed. Tang Zheng's claws were still on it. "You're exposed." Tang Zheng raised his eyebrows and joked. I won't let you see." Feng Shishir grabbed the quilt and broke free from Tang Zheng's evil clutches, covering the seductive scene. "I looked at it for a long time last night. I already know what it looks like. I can imagine it even without looking. You bad egg." Feng Shishir's face was as red as a peach blossom. Her eyes looked like they were about to drip water. Shishir, wake up and eat breakfast. I'll send you to school in a bit." Shi Mingqin called from outside the door. "Okay, Mom, I'll be down soon." "Quickly get up and put on your clothes," Feng Shishir urged. "Do you want me to help you put it on?" Tang Zheng volunteered. Feng Shishir glared at him and said, "I don't want it. You only know how to be naughty. You only know how to take off people's clothes." The two of them put on their clothes and washed up. When they walked to the door, Feng Shishir stopped and turned her head to look at Tang Zheng. She embarrassedly said, "What if my parents see you?" Tang Zheng shrugged his shoulders, not afraid in the slightest. "In any case, they will find out sooner or later. It is better to find out sooner rather than later. Moreover, in the future it will be convenient for us to be together openly." "I'll let you off easy." Feng Shishir wrinkled her nose, looking extremely cute. With a creak, the door opened. The two of them held hands and walked up the winding staircase to the dining room. In the dining room, Feng Chonghua and Shi Mengqin were originally talking when they suddenly raised their heads and saw this scene. They simultaneously stopped and stared dumbfoundedly at the two of them. A trace of shyness flashed across Feng Shishir's face, but she did not let go of Tang Zheng's hand. Instead, she gathered her courage and naturally walked over with Tang Zheng. "Uncle, Auntie, good morning." Tang Zheng discovered that his face was becoming thicker and thicker. He was not flustered in the slightest, as if nothing had happened. On the contrary, Feng Shishir bashfully lowered her head, not daring to look at her parents. Seeing her bashful appearance, as experienced people, how could Feng Chonghua and Shi Mengqin not understand what had happened? They tacitly looked at each other and couldn't help but think of last night's topic. Didn't they plan on repeatedly reminding Feng Shishir about that kind of thing? But after only one night, it was already too late. Heavens, the two of them were about to collapse. This matter came too suddenly. Even the usually calm and collected Feng Chonghua's expression changed. Shi Mengqin glared at Feng Shishir, and was about to flip out when Feng Chonghua saw that the situation was not good and hurriedly grabbed her hand. The matter had already happened, so flipping out would not help and would instead make the situation worse. It seems that his daughter had truly grown up. Feng Chonghua inwardly sighed. But last night when they went to sleep, Tang Zheng was clearly not in his home. How could he be standing in front of them now? However, this was not a problem for them, as they automatically imagined Tang Zheng and Feng Shishir infiltrating their home. Xi Mingqin also suddenly remembered the strange sound she heard last night. It was definitely made by these two, and she had almost opened the door and bumped into them. She was both a bit angry and a bit happy. After all, bumping into this kind of thing was too embarrassing. Shishir, come here and sit down. Xi Mingqin forcefully suppressed her anger and unhappily said. Feng Shishir obediently went over and sat down, pulling Tang Zheng to sit beside her. Feng Chonghua ordered the servants to add another set of chopsticks as his gaze fell on Tang Zheng's face. For pairs of eyes met. Seeing Feng Chonghua's complicated expression, Tang Zheng lightly coughed and calmly said, Uncle Feng, how are things going with the demolition? Feng Chonghua inwardly sighed. If it was him, he would definitely not be able to have such a calm and collected appearance. This Tang Zheng was truly not simple. But in this situation, he obviously could not give Tang Zheng too much face. Otherwise, he would not let this little brat take a mile after taking an inch. Therefore, Feng Chonghua did his best to make his expression serious and not appear angry as he solemnly said, The demolition has already begun. Boss Hua's company truly lives up to its name. That's good. Tang Zheng nodded his head and began to eat. Tang Zheng felt that he had to admire his own courage and determination. If it was before, he would definitely have a guilty conscience. But now that he had dealt with so many strange things, this situation did not make him feel guilty at all. Seeing the calm and collected Tang Zheng, Xi Mingqin fiercely glared at him. Then she pulled Feng Shishir, who had almost finished eating, and said, Follow me. Feng Shishir reluctantly looked at Tang Zheng. Seeing Tang Zheng's encouraging gaze, she slightly nodded her head and followed her mother into a room. Stand properly. Xi Mingqin crossed her arms and began to criticize. Feng Shishir pouted her lips and complained. Mom, what are you doing? I'm still eating breakfast. What are you eating? You still have the mood to eat? Look at what you've done. Xi Mingqin was unable to restrain her anger as she tried her best to control her voice so that it would not spread to the dining room. Feng Shishir took a deep breath. She had already anticipated her mother's anger, so she tried her best to speak in a calm tone. I know what I'm doing. I think you don't even know what you're doing? You're still students, how can you be like this? Xi Mingqin did not dare to use words that were too hurtful to her daughter. So what if we're students? We're already 18 years old and are already adults. If we were in the ancient times, we would already be married and have children. So what? Moreover, the two of us are truly in love. Moreover, didn't you guys not object before? Feng Shishir argued. We did not object, but we did not think that you guys would progress so quickly. Xi Mingqin was filled with regret. If she had known earlier, she would have strictly guarded against them. However, no matter how strictly she guarded against them, she could not have continued to follow them. It was even more impossible for her to not sleep at night and guard the door to prevent Tang Zheng, this flower thief. Moreover, there was no way to guard against this kind of thing. Seeing her daughter's determined appearance, Xi Mingqin was speechless and could only gnash her teeth in hatred. Feng Shishir saw that her mother's anger had subsided a little and hurriedly held onto her hand. She said with a smile, Mom, I know you treat me well, but I also have my own feelings and my own decisions. I also know how to treat myself well, so you don't need to worry. Tang Zheng treats me very well. He treats you well now, but that does not guarantee that he will treat you well in the future. In the future, he will definitely treat me well. I understand him. She knew Tang Zheng's true secret, so she had the confidence to say these words. How long have you guys known each other? And you dare to say that you understand him? 3 years. That's a long time, right? I remember that you and Dad only knew each other for 2 years before getting married. Feng Shishir mischievously said. Go to the side. I am talking about your problems. How did it involve me and your dad? Feng Shishir chuckled. I really envy you and my dad. In the future, we will definitely be a copy of you and be as happy as you too. Xi Mengqin opened her mouth but was speechless. She could not possibly say that she was not happy right now. This daughter of hers had truly grown up, and was becoming more and more eloquent. She let out a long sigh and said, Shishir, don't blame Mom for her bad attitude. I have seen too many ungrateful men, so this is all for your good. Feng Shishir hurriedly nodded her head. And I know Mom treats me well, and I will always remember this in my heart. However, Tang Zheng is not that kind of ungrateful man. Moreover, he is very amazing. As she said this, her eyes lit up as her large eyes were filled with worship and love. Seeing this scene, how could Xi Mengqin not understand her daughter's feelings? She was also a woman and had also walked through this age. Stop. Right now, I also do not feel that he is that amazing. Feng Shishir stuck out her tongue and said in her heart, Mom, Tang Zheng is a cultivator and your daughter is also a cultivator. This is all because of him. However, I must first say that this will only happen once. If I see him come out of your room so early in the morning again, I will definitely kick him out. Xi Mengqin slightly compromised, but still had a lot of resentment towards Tang Zheng. Feng Shishir hurriedly promised, Relax, there will not be a next time. In her heart, she secretly said that she would at most have Tang Zheng jump out of the window before dawn. Since he was so strong, this would be a piece of cake. Tang Zheng and Feng Chonghua sat in the dining room. Tang Zheng did not say a word as he quietly ate his breakfast. Feng Chonghua, on the other hand, did not have much of an appetite. He even stopped his habit of eating breakfast while reading the newspaper. He stared straight at Tang Zheng as if he wanted him to say something. However, what kind of person was Tang Zheng? This kind of gaze did not have any killing power towards him. A moment later, he put down his bowl and chopsticks and said, Uncle, I am full. You can slowly eat. Seeing that he was about to leave, Feng Chonghua could no longer sit still. Chapter 141. Tang Zheng, wait a moment. Feng Chonghua finally opened his mouth. Tang Zheng stopped, sat up straight and asked, Uncle, is there anything else? Feng Chonghua wanted to say something but hesitated. You and Shishir, Tang Zheng seriously said. Uncle, perhaps this is a bit sudden for you, but I must solemnly declare that Shishir and I truly like each other. If we truly want to be together, there is no difficulty that can stop us. Tang Zheng's attitude was somewhat unyielding. If it was someone else, they would have been kicked out by his father-in-law, but Tang Zheng's words were as it should be. If he were to show weakness, it would not be inconceivable. This was Tang Zheng's current imposing manner. Feng Chonghua waved his hand and said, I'm not trying to stop you, but you're still students after all. And you're sprinting for the college entrance exam. You can't be distracted by other things and ruin all your hard work over the years. Do you understand what I mean? I understand. Shishir's grades are very good and I believe that she will be able to get good grades. I also have confidence that I will be able to get good grades. Tang Zheng's voice was sonorous and powerful, making it impossible for anyone to doubt him. But Feng Chonghua was a board member of the school, so of course he knew about Tang Zheng's poor grades, so he tactfully reminded him. It is good that you have confidence, but you cannot relax in your studies. I am not worried about Shishir's grades, but you. The school's last place wanting to get into a good university was nothing more than a daydream. Feng Chonghua did not say this, as even though he knew that Tang Zheng was outstanding in other areas, he did not have much confidence in his studies. Uncle, I will get first place in the college entrance exam, Tang Zheng firmly said. What first place in the school? Feng Chonghua felt that he might have misheard. Could it be that he was referring to last place? Uncle, you did not mishear. I will get first place in the school, and enter a good university, Tang Zheng repeated. Feng Chonghua finally knew that he did not mishear. But was this really possible? Xi Mengqin and Feng Shishir walked out, and coincidentally heard these words. Xi Mengqin's eyes widened in disbelief. Wasn't he afraid of biting his tongue by saying such big words? Unexpectedly, Feng Shishir walked over and held his hand. They looked at each other and smiled. She also said firmly, I believe you. Feng Chonghua and Xi Mengqin looked at each other. not understanding where Tang Zheng's confidence came from. Furthermore, Fang Shishir believed in him so much, as if she was possessed. Tang Zheng didn't need to explain too much, so he lightly said, I also made a bet with the school's Wu Cuehong. If I get first place in the school, then she doesn't deserve to be a teacher, and must leave Pengqing International School. Uncle, you're the school's director, so I hope that when the time comes, you can supervise her carrying out this bet. Is what you said true? Fang Chonghua had never heard of this bet, but he could see the strong confidence in Tang Zheng's eyes. Moreover, with Tang Zheng's personality, he definitely wouldn't make this bet knowing that he would lose. This meant that from the moment he placed the bet, he already knew that he would win. Of course it's true. Tang Zheng is much stronger than me. He is just temporarily hiding his strength. Fang Shishir impatiently said. Fang Chonghua and Shi Mengqin felt that their brains were not enough today. Was Tang Zheng deliberately hiding his strength by getting last place? But this was too deep. Was there a need to get last place to hide his strength? Tang Zheng did not want to explain the specific reason to them. He only looked at Fang Chonghua with a burning gaze filled with confidence. Okay, then when the time comes, I will remind the school to pay attention to this bet. Fang Chonghua simply did not say anything. Shi Mengqin wanted to say something, but seeing her husband's expression, she tactfully closed her mouth. Dad, Mom, then we will go to school. Uncle, Auntie, goodbye. Fang Shishir carried her backpack and pulled Tang Zheng towards the garage. Luckily, their villa had an indoor garage, so as long as they got in the car, Daoist Tianji would not be able to discover them. The driver was already waiting by the side of the car. He opened the door for the two to get in and rolled up the window so that no one could see the situation inside. The car drove out of the villa and sped towards the school. Tang Zheng and Fang Shishir sat in the back. Fang Shishir leaned on his shoulder and said in a low voice, Do you think that bad guy left? I don't know. Tang Zheng shook his head and unconsciously looked out of the car. Coincidentally, he saw a large group of police chasing after a beggar-like old man in ragged clothes. This person was of course Elder Tianji. Elder Tianji had been unhindered for his entire life, and had never thought that he would be chased like a stray dog. His speed was much faster than the police, but he did not have as many people as the police, and was not as familiar with the terrain. In addition, the police did not know that he was an expert, so they were not afraid of him at all. This resulted in this situation of a mad chase. Moreover, there were quite a few police cars chasing after him. The sound of the police sirens made one's heart flustered. Tang Zheng's head trembled as he could not help but sit up straight and be on guard. Fang Shishir noticed his strange behavior and hurriedly followed his gaze. She also saw the police chasing after Daoist Tianji. Her heart moved as she asked, He is that bad guy? Last night, Tang Zheng had told her everything, so she knew how powerful Daoist Tianji was. Tang Zheng nodded. That's him. He really did not leave. If I had left your house last night, then I would have definitely been discovered by him. So it seems that my decision to leave you behind last night was correct. Fang Shishir said with satisfaction. Tang Zheng tapped her nose and praised. You are my lucky star, so your decision was definitely correct. Even though his expression was relaxed, his hand could not help but grab onto the battle spirit sword in Fang Shishir's bag. Fortunately, this scene flashed by and Daoist Tianji did not discover that the person he was looking for was in a car not too far away. He did not dare to use the earth-shrinking technique in front of so many people as it was too eye-catching. If he were to be noticed by the country's people, then he would not have a good ending. Even though he was a first-grade foundation establishment cultivator, and his strength was not bad, the martial artists in this world were not weak either. Moreover, there were too many experts and he was far from being a match for them. So he could only madly run and hope that he could quickly get rid of this group of damned police. Not long after, the police and police cars disappeared from Tang Zheng's sight. The two people safely arrived at the school, and Tang Zheng's heart finally relaxed as he focused on class. However, there was someone who was unable to concentrate, and Hoodlum was restlessly pacing around the large office. Hoodlum had a tall stature, and his muscles were bulging. The veins on his arms were bulging like green pythons coiling around his muscles. His eyes revealed an ominous glint as his heart was in turmoil. The people he had sent to assassinate Tang Zheng last night could not be contacted. It was just to get rid of a high school student. Furthermore, in order to emphasize the importance of Song Donghua's mission, he had sent out 6 people. Moreover, they were led by his head Scarface. For a single student, this was simply too much. But why was there no news? Even when he called, no one answered. Hoodlum had sent out his little brothers early in the morning to look for these 6 people, as he guessed that they had drunk some wine and ran off somewhere to enjoy themselves. When I find them, I will definitely fiercely teach them a lesson. They are simply too outrageous. Brother Fei, we found Scarface and the others. One of his little brothers walked in with a strange expression as he respectfully reported. Why do you have such a dead face so early in the morning? Did you die or something? Hoodlum unhappily reprimanded. Speak, what exactly happened to Scarface and the others? The little brother hurriedly lowered his head and fearfully said, Brother Fei, this matter is very strange. You should personally make a trip. Strange? This daddy has seen many strange things. How strange can it be? Hurry up and tell me, what exactly happened? Hoodlum impatiently reprimanded. Seeing that his boss was about to flip out, the little brother took a deep breath and finally gathered his courage as he stammered. Scarface's little brothers are all dead. Dead. Hoodlum was shocked as he could not believe it. A few people had actually died trying to deal with a high school student. This was simply too strange. What exactly happened? Hoodlum sternly asked. The little brother fearfully shook his head. Boss, I am also not clear. You should go and take a look. Okay, let's go. This daddy wants to see what exactly happened. Half an hour later, Hoodlum stood in the desolate construction site of the unmarked common graves as he blankly stared at everything in front of him. He finally understood his little brother's feelings. This was simply too strange. Brother Fei, we found their van, and then found this place. The little brother still did not dare to look at the bloody scene. Hoodlum's face was ashen as his little brothers had actually died so miserably. Their heads had been separated from their bodies and some of their stomachs had been torn open with their organs spilling all over the ground. This was simply like hell on earth. Even the chaotic battles of the underworld were not this miserable. Who can tell me what exactly happened? The other little brothers did not dare to look at his eyes as they hurriedly lowered their heads. No one dared to speak. Where is Scarface? How come I don't see his corpse here? Scarface is still alive. The little brother said. Then capture him for this daddy. This daddy wants to ask what the fuck happened. Hoodlum was flustered and exasperated. It had been a long time since he had been this angry. What was originally an insignificant matter had actually turned out like this. 5 of his little brothers had died, and they had died so miserably. If he did not find an explanation, then not only would his little brothers be bitterly disappointed, he would also become a laughingstock and damage his reputation. The little brother wanted to say something but hesitated. In the end, he did not say anything as he turned around and walked towards the van, dragging along a person as he staggered over. Hoodlum looked at the person walking over in astonishment as his eyebrows jumped. Scarface was his leader, and was also his trusted little brother. Of course, he was very familiar with him. Scarface was vicious and merciless, and was extremely good at fighting. However, although this person in front of him had the appearance of Scarface, he did not have any spirit. His face was lifeless like a fool, and was completely different from the Scarface that he knew. Hoodlum became even more suspicious. Just what had happened to make his ruthless leader become like this? He had to find out. He grabbed Scarface's collar and angrily roared. Scarface, just what happened? Chapter 142. Scarface looked at Hoodlum blankly, his eyes lifeless. Hoodlum was enraged and slapped Scarface. F***K, are you stupid? Answer me. Ah. Ghost. Scarface suddenly shouted, as if he had gone mad, brandishing his claws and brandishing them. Pooh. Hoodlum was not careful and his face was scratched a few times. Blood immediately seeped out, making him look battered and exhausted. Hoodlum was actually injured by his own leader. If this were to spread, he would become a laughing stock. Hoodlum was unable to restrain his anger and kicked Scarface to the ground. He was still angry and stepped on Scarface. F***K, you dare to attack me? Are you crazy? Scarface curled up on the ground and screamed, but he still kept on repeating. Ghost, ghost. Brother Fei, calm down. The other lackeys saw this and quickly persuaded. Brother Fei, Scarface seems to have really gone mad. You can hear him calling ghosts. When we found him, he was also like this. What? Hoodlum stopped and looked suspiciously at Scarface, who was curled up on the ground. Scarface was still muttering nonstop, and his face was still full of fear. Hoodlum had seen this kind of fear many times. Before he killed someone, the person he killed would also feel this kind of bone-chilling fear, which is commonly known as being scared out of their wits. Scarface, who killed without blinking an eye, was actually scared out of his wits. Hoodlum could not believe it. Even if there was a knife to Scarface's neck, Hoodlum was sure that Scarface would not be so scared. What the F***K is going on? Hoodlum was filled with suspicion and asked angrily. The lackeys trembled in fear and hesitated to speak. What are you waiting for? If you don't speak, I will cripple you. The underling trembled and pointed at the ground under his feet. Brother Fei, do you still remember where we are? Hoodlum frowned and looked around. This place was extremely desolate, and there were barely any signs of life. What kind of place was this? What kind of place is this? Brother Fei, this is the damned place. It's ordinary balances, unmarked common graves, the one that's haunted. After the little brother finished speaking, he couldn't help but look around, as if he was really afraid that a ghost would come to take his life. Hoodlum's heart trembled as he finally remembered this dangerous place. He was a gangster and didn't believe in ghosts. However, the incident with the developer a few years ago had caused a lot of commotion and left him with a lingering fear. Brother Fei, I'm guessing that Scarface and the others encountered something dirty. That's why they died so miserably. That's why he became an idiot. Otherwise, why would he keep muttering about ghosts? The little brother speculated. Hoodlum shivered and looked at the messy corpses on the ground. Indeed, this was not something an ordinary person could do. Otherwise, that person would be too abnormal. But he couldn't show his fear in front of his little brother, so he pretended to be angry and said, Damn it, how can there be so many ghosts in this world? If there's a ghost, why didn't the people I killed come back for my life? F***ck, a bunch of idiots. Why are you so afraid of ghosts? Where are the ghosts? Come out. Let me take a look. He angrily roared at the desolate construction site. Everything was silent, and there was no response. However, this scared the little brothers so much that they began to tremble and almost ran away. Hoodlum's performance was undoubtedly very domineering. In the hearts of the little brothers, his image was once again raised by another level. Following a big brother who wasn't even afraid of ghosts, of course they would have more prospects. This is definitely the work of some bastard who wants to go against me. They purposely made it look like a ghost to confuse the public. Don't think that I, Hoodlum, won't be able to find out. In ordinary balances territory, I, Hoodlum, have the final say. Those who go against me can only die. Hoodlum was seething with anger. Drag Scarface back and find a doctor to see if he can be cured. I, Hoodlum, want to know what exactly happened. Yes. A few of the younger brothers hurriedly dragged Scarface away, afraid of provoking their boss's anger again. However, the few bloodstains on his face, no matter how they looked at it, seemed like a silent taunt. Gather the little brothers. I, Hoodlum, want to stretch my muscles. It's been too long since I've fought. Others might think that I, Hoodlum, am easy to bully. Boss, who are we going to fight? Lin Hu. Several little brothers' eyes lit up as they agreed. Recently, Lin Hu has been jumping around happily. He even swallowed up Boss Fan's territory. Why don't we go and eat up his territory? Let's see if he can still be so arrogant. Hoodlum disdainfully snorted. In ordinary balances territory, Master Huang has the final say. They have been fighting to the death and Master Huang has seen it all. Since they dare to bite back at Master Huang, then their time of death has come. These words were indeed the truth. The current situation where several parties coexisted was something that Huangzi had tacitly agreed to. He did not keep all of the territory in his hands because he was worried that others would say that he was monopolizing it. Thus, he occupied the most profitable territory and left the rest for others to fight over. Not only did he not lose much profit, he even gained a good reputation. It was really like being a bitch and still wanting to build a monument. The little brothers became excited. With territory to fight over, they would have even more profits in the future. Thus, they temporarily forgot about the ghost matter and contacted their little brothers to take action. Ding-ling-ling. Suddenly, Hoodlum's phone rang. "Hello, who is this?" Hoodlum angrily asked. "Hoodlum, did you eat gunpowder? Why are you so angry?" "Ah, Secretary Song, it's you." Hoodlum's voice softened as he waved his hands, sending his little brothers away. Hoodlum had invested quite a bit in Song Donghua and knew of his strength. No matter how imposing and fierce he was in front of his little brothers, in front of Song Donghua, he was incomparably obedient and listened to his orders. This society was not like the past where one could rely on fighting and killing to get to the top. This society had a dark side, and the country would tacitly allow it to exist. However, if the country really wanted to make a move, they would be like a mantis trying to stop a chariot. Hoodlum understood this principle, so he had always tried to rope in officials. In the end, he had spent a lot of effort to hug the thighs of Secretary Song Donghua. Although he had spent quite a bit of money, the results were very good. For example, last time his little brothers had been caught and sent to the police station. In the end, Secretary Song only needed to make a phone call to solve the problem, and his little brothers were released. Thus, Hoodlum carefully maintained this relationship. As long as it was something Song Donghua asked him to do, he would definitely do his best to do it. For example, this time's matter. Although this time he had clearly messed up, he could still fix it. Wasn't it just dealing with a high school student? It was a piece of cake. "How are things?" Song Donghua went straight to the point. Hoodlum did not dare to say that he messed up and hurriedly said, "It will be done in 2 days. Secretary Song, you can rest assured that I will handle it." Song Donghua unhappily said, "Didn't you say that you were going to make a move last night?" It seems that Song Donghua was a person who would definitely take revenge for the smallest grievance. Hoodlum evasively said, "Secretary Song, there was a small matter last night so it was delayed. Don't worry, I will definitely handle this matter beautifully. I guarantee that you will be satisfied. Don't make me wait too long, otherwise I will lose my patience. If that happens, you will not be able to handle your matters in the future," Secretary Song threatened. "Yes, Secretary Song, don't worry. I will definitely get it done as soon as possible." After hanging up the phone, Hoodlum went silent. "Today, after dealing with Lin Hu, I will personally make a trip to meet this high school student." Hey, to personally deal with a high school student, it really is too much of a fuss. At noon, Shengshi Bar had not yet opened, but a group of people had already arrived. It was clear that they were not customers but had ill intentions. When Lin Hu's little brothers saw this, they quickly ran upstairs to report. Pung. A loud sound rang out as Hoodlum sent the door flying with a kick, smashing into the wall far away. He stood imposingly at the entrance, glaring angrily. Sweeping his gaze, Lin Hu's lackeys all hid far away. "Yo, isn't this Brother Fei? Why are you so angry? Come, give Brother Fei a glass of wine. Put in some ice to cool down his anger." Dongzi came out to greet him and feigned enthusiasm. "Who the F***ck are you? What qualifications do you have to speak in front of me? Scram, tell your boss Lin Hu to come talk to me. Otherwise I will start smashing," Hoodlum said arrogantly. Behind him, over 100 little brothers immediately screamed and waved the sticks in their hands. It was a frightening sight. "Brother Fei, I am Brother Hu's little brother Dongzi. If you have anything to say, you can tell me," Dongzi said while suppressing his anger. "Pei tell you? Are you even worthy?" Hoodlum's leg flew up and swept towards Dongzi. Dongzi reacted quickly and immediately raised his arm to block. Although he blocked, there was still a muffled sound as Dongzi flew out and smashed into the counter. It could be seen how powerful that kick was. "Pei, you can't even withstand a single blow." Hoodlum disdainfully spat out a mouthful of saliva. Behind him, his little brothers cheered him on. Brother Fei is mighty. Lin Hu's little brothers began to stir, and were about to charge forward when they saw Dongzi stumbling as he stood up and blocked his little brother. He wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and asked with a gloomy face, Brother Fei, you're not being particular. Are you trying to pick a fight with Brother Hu? So what if I want to pick a fight with him? Let me tell you, not only will I pick a fight, I will also ruthlessly step on Lin Hu so that he will never be able to rise again. Hoodlum said with a murderous look. Yo, Brother Fei, you're so aggressive. Did you eat a bull's penis early in the morning? You're so angry that you want to step on me so that I will never be able to rise again. You scared me to death. Lin Hu lazily walked downstairs and looked at Dongzi. How are you? Dongzi clenched his teeth and shook his head. I'm fine. Lin Hu nodded his head as he walked towards Hoodlum. Hoodlum's pupils shrunk as they had not seen each other for a short period of time, and Lin Hu's aura seemed to have changed. He was now filled with confidence. Brother Fei, what happened to your face? Did some little girl scratch you? Hey, you're going to be disfigured. Lin Hu jokingly said, but in his heart he was very puzzled as why Hoodlum would come looking for him. Could it be that Fire Phoenix had told on him? Impossible. Lin Hu decided to wait and see. Hoodlum was already angry, and mentioning the bloody scars on his face made him even angrier. It seemed like this fight was unavoidable. Chapter 143. Hoodlum angrily glared at him. Lin Hu, don't think that I don't know what you've done. Was the matter with Scarface done by you? Actually, Hoodlum wasn't sure who was the one behind Scarface's matter, but he had a good reason, so he didn't mind pinning this matter on Lin Hu's head. Fairy Search download free novels. During this period of time, Lin Hu had been jumping around very happily. Hoodlum felt threatened, so he wanted to beat him down. Brother Fei, you can eat whatever you want, but you can't say whatever you want. I heard that Scarface was injured by a malicious spirit in the unmarked common graves, so I was just about to go and ask him about it. Lin Hu flatly denied. The unmarked common graves were after all in the north of the city, so Lin Hu had just received the news, and was very shocked. Hoodlum stared at him but didn't want to judge whether his words were true or false. In any case, this battle had to be fought. Don't cry crocodile tears. Let me tell you, it's too late to pretend to be a grandson. What malicious spirit demanding your life? That's just to trick a 3-year-old child. Since you won't admit it, I'll beat you until you admit it. Lin Hu's eyebrows jumped. Brother Fei, then you're purposely looking for an excuse to deal with me? So what if I'm going to deal with you? Hoodlum disdainfully said, and then took a step forward. Their eyes met and Hoodlum didn't see any fear in Lin Hu's eyes. This made him even more determined to get rid of Lin Hu. A person who wasn't afraid of him would one day threaten his existence, so he waved his hand. Attack! More than 100 underlings swarmed into the bar, waving their clubs and smashing the bar. Fine, if you want to fight then I'll fight. Let's see who will win in the end. Lin Hu clenched his teeth and said with an ashen face. The battle was already unavoidable. If he were to shrink back then he wouldn't have the face to mingle in the underworld. But he was a little regretful that he wasn't fully prepared for this battle. But, even if it was difficult, he still had to fight. Good, then I want to see how a 2nd-grade refining body, like you, can fight against a 5th-grade refining body like me. Hoodlum jokingly said as he swept his leg towards Lin Hu's lower body. Lin Hu leaped backwards and dodged the attack. He roared, Brothers, beat them up for me. Beat them up ruthlessly. They dare to behave atrociously in our territory. We must beat them down. Suddenly, the two sides were engaged in a chaotic battle. This was Lin Hu's base camp, so of course he had a lot of people. They were almost evenly matched, but the bar suffered a calamity. It was basically smashed beyond recognition. Lin Hu's eyes were spitting fire as he leapt towards Hoodlum. Flipping his hand behind his back, a chilling machete appeared in his hand as he viciously chopped towards Hoodlum. You dare to make a fool of yourself with such petty tricks. I'll let you open your eyes and see what a true expert is. Hoodlum's face was full of disdain as he met the attack with his bare hands. He kicked out towards Lin Hu's chest. Even though Lin Hu had a weapon in his hand, he didn't dare be careless. He knew the power of Hoodlum's spring kick. Hoodlum was Huang Xi's most proud disciple. It was said that Huang Xiang didn't like to learn spring kick, so Huang Si passed down the essence of spring kick to Hoodlum. Hoodlum was only 30 years old, but he was already a 5th-grade refining body cultivator. Spring kick was fast and fierce. One kick was accompanied by a strong wind that made people unable to open their eyes. But Lin Hu wasn't a mediocre person. He swept his machete horizontally towards Hoodlum's leg. The machete's momentum was like the wind, as if it could even cut through steel. Hoodlum didn't retract his leg, and instead kicked even faster towards the blade. Pung! A muffled sound rang out as Lin Hu staggered backwards, his arm numb. Hoodlum slightly retreated, and then lowered his body, sweeping towards Lin Hu's lower body with a whirlwind kick. Lin Hu roared as he blocked his lower body with his machete, blocking the opponent's attack. He then pulled his machete upwards, directly slashing towards Hoodlum's chest. As long as the machete landed, it would directly split open from the chest to the stomach. Hoodlum leapt into the air, narrowly avoiding the tip of the machete. He then looked down from above and kicked out with both of his legs, covering the top of Lin Hu's head. Pung pung pung. A series of muffled sounds rang out as Lin Hu flew backwards, spitting out a mouthful of blood. Hoodlum steadily landed on the ground as he flicked his sleeves and disdainfully said, "You're only a 2nd-grade refining body cultivator. Before, I was too lazy to fight with you. Now that I want to get rid of you, it's as easy as flipping my hand." With a movement of his feet, he arrived in front of Lin Hu. Lin Hu was lying on the ground, seemingly heavily injured. When the other lackeys saw this, they all angrily shouted, "Don't hurt my boss." Dongzi directly pounced towards Hoodlum. Hoodlum glanced at him from the corner of his eyes and kicked out. Dongzi was like a kite with a broken string as he flew into the crowd. Pung! A gunshot rang out as a bullet flew towards Hoodlum. Hoodlum hurriedly pulled over a lackey beside him. Pooh! Blood splattered everywhere as the lackey was shot while he himself was unharmed. He angrily looked at Lin Hu as he stood up with a gun in his hand, aiming it straight at Hoodlum. "Using a gun? F***CK, you think you can beat me with a gun? Dream on." Hoodlum angrily roared as he threw the lackey in his hand towards Lin Hu. He then hid behind the lackey and quickly approached Lin Hu. His vision turned black as a figure flew over, completely blocking Lin Hu's line of sight, making it impossible for him to aim at Hoodlum. He couldn't help but turn pale with fright as he hurriedly retreated. However, behind him was a wall, and there was no way to retreat. Lin Hu originally didn't intend to use his gun, but in this situation, if he didn't use his gun, he would have no way to survive. This gun was given to him by Tang Zheng from Boss Fan. He didn't expect that it would come in handy here. At this moment, how he wished that Tang Zheng was here, so that Hoodlum wouldn't be able to do anything. Suddenly, he was even more determined to follow Tang Zheng. "If I don't die today, even if young Master Tang uses a stick to chase me away, I won't leave. I will definitely let him sit on the top of the ordinary balance underworld." He didn't have time to pull the trigger because Hoodlum had already arrived in front of him under the cover of his lackey. Hoodlum's leg swept towards his arm. Kacha! The bone in his arm broke, and the gun fell to the ground. Hoodlum's leg swept towards his neck. This attack was powerful and heavy. If he was swept by it, his neck would definitely be broken. He hurriedly raised his only hand to block. Bang! He was sent flying into the crowd. One of Hoodlum's lackeys saw this and chopped at him with a knife. Clang! The other knife blocked the attack. Dao Zai held the knife with both hands and stood in front of him to protect him. Dao Zai was previously Boss Fan's head horse. Now he was under Lin Hu's command. Last time at the restaurant, Tang Zheng let him go. Now he loyally followed Lin Hu. Dao Zai was good at using two knives and his battle strength wasn't bad. In a few moves, he cut down the surrounding enemies. While pulling Lin Hu towards the door, he shouted, "Brother Hu, quickly run. I will block them." Lin Hu's eyes turned red. Dao Zai was so loyal. How could he leave? With difficulty, he raised his knife and said, "I will fight alongside you all. Brother Hu, where there is life there is hope. I, Dao Zai, have just followed you. You can't let me lose my boss. Go find young Master Tang and let him take revenge for us." Lin Hu's heart trembled as he clenched his teeth. Although he didn't want to run, in this situation, if he didn't run then he would die. The other lackeys could live, but he as the boss definitely wouldn't. Moreover, Dao Zai was right. If he died, then Hoodlum's momentum would be even stronger, and it would be even more difficult to deal with Huang Si. Young Master Tang wholeheartedly wanted to deal with Huang Si. If he died like this, wouldn't he be a sinner? Brother, I will definitely come back to save you all. Lin Hu clenched his teeth as hot tears fell from the corners of his eyes. Men shouldn't be easily moved. Facing these comrades who risked their lives to protect him, he really wanted to cry. But now wasn't the time to cry. Under the cover of Dao Zai, he used all his strength to rush towards the door. Fuck, you want to run? No way. Hoodlum saw through the other's intentions and quickly chased after him. Dong Zi had unknowingly rushed over and hugged Hoodlum's legs as he loudly shouted, "Brother Hu, quickly run and take revenge for us." "Let go." Hoodlum angrily roared. "Run, Brother Hu." Dong Zi vowed not to let go and instead hugged even tighter. "If you want to die, then I'll fulfill your wish." Hoodlum leapt up, bringing Dong Zi along with him before fiercely crashing onto the ground. One of his hands involuntarily loosened, and Hoodlum's leg was freed as he quickly kicked towards Dong Zi. Dong Zi desperately hugged onto his other leg, spitting out blood but still didn't loosen his grip. "Help!" It was unknown who roared, but Lin Hu's subordinates all rushed towards Hoodlum, wanting to block him and give their boss a chance to escape. Lin Hu looked at all of this with red eyes. "Brothers, your kindness, Lin Hu will remember it in my heart. I will definitely come back and lead you all to stand at the peak of the ordinary balance. I will let you all live in glory forever, and let you all receive the rewards for what you have done today." Lin Hu turned around and ran out of the door with tears in his eyes, disappearing from everyone's line of sight. "Beat him up for me and ruthlessly teach this group of bastards a lesson." Hoodlum flew into a rage as he helplessly watched Lin Hu escape. Although his martial arts were the highest here, he was still powerless in the vast ocean of people's war. Lin Hu staggered, and in order to not attract attention, he specifically chose a remote path. Looking at the scorching sun above his head, his heart was ice cold as if he had fallen into an ice cave. This battle left a deep impression on him as the eyes of his brothers hovered in his mind. He clenched his teeth and bit his lips until they were bleeding. "I will definitely take revenge, take revenge." Finding young Master Tang was his only thought as well as his only method. He knew that he had underestimated Hoodlum's strength in the past, as this Huang Si dog's fangs were too sharp. Even if he relied on himself and the Fire Phoenix, he would still be powerless. Only Tang Zheng was the key to change everything. He also finally understood why Fire Phoenix was so cautious and didn't easily agree to join hands with him. This woman was the one with the clearest vision. One of his arms drooped down as it was incomparably painful, but it couldn't compare to the pain in his heart. He had to find Tang Zheng as soon as possible. School, yes, Tang Zheng was studying at Pengcheng International School. He didn't dare call for a taxi as he was deeply afraid that Hoodlum would catch up to him. He staggered all the way to Pengcheng International School. His injuries weren't light. Not only did he suffer from the pain of losing his arm, he also suffered from internal injuries. The taste of Hoodlum's bouncing kick wasn't that good. Finally, he saw his destination in the distance as a group of students filed out. Chapter 144. Lin Hu's eyes widened as he searched through the crowd of students. Suddenly, a familiar figure jumped into his eyes. Net! Young Master Tang. He controlled the cry that he was about to blurt out. Looking at his battered and exhausted self covered in blood, he lowered his head in shame and did not go over. He understood that Tang Zheng did not want too many people to know about him, so he did not dare to go over in public. Tang Zheng sent Feng Shishir to the car and watched her leave. He then walked with Feng Yong. The two of them chatted and laughed, no different from the students beside them. When the two of them got closer, Lin Hu jumped out from a corner and called out in a low voice, "Young Master Tang." Tang Zheng and Feng Yong were originally discussing the problem of martial arts. Feng Yong was after all too old and his aptitude was average, so his progress in martial arts was not as fast as Feng Shishir's. However, thanks to the guidance of a great teacher like Tang Zheng, he could be considered to have stepped into the threshold of martial arts. "Boss, when do you think I can be as strong as you?" Feng Yong asked in worship. Tang Zheng gave a faint smile and encouraged him. As long as you work hard, it is possible. Feng Yong nodded. I will definitely work hard, so that people like Takashi will never be able to bully me again. 5. Takashi hasn't bullied you now, right? Of course he wouldn't dare. With boss protecting me, who would dare to touch me? Feng Yong said proudly. However, Takashi has been acting strange recently, especially that look in his eyes. I keep feeling that there is a problem. Tang Zheng did not have time to reply when he saw a person jump out from the side. He jumped in fright, thinking that it was Daoist Tianji. Ihuzi, why is it you? Tang Zheng looked at Lin Hu in astonishment. His gaze trembled as he saw the blood on his clothes. He could not help but frown. What's wrong? Young Master Tang, I have something to talk to you about. Lin Hu glanced at Feng Yong and hesitated. Feng Yong looked at this stranger in astonishment. He actually called his boss Young Master Tang. He felt baffled. When did his boss have such a nickname? Why didn't his little brother know about it? However, what shocked him even more was Lin Hu's aura. This person was battered and exhausted, and there was even blood on his clothes. However, his aura was very frightening and full of killing intent, causing him to involuntarily tremble. Tang Zheng knew that something big must have happened. He patted Feng Yong's shoulder and said, Fatty, you go home first. Boss, is there something wrong? I'm your little brother, so if there's a problem, I'll have to help. Feng Yong patted his chest and volunteered. Tang Zheng shook his head. Feng Yong couldn't help. Go back. You don't have to get involved in this. Oh boss, just give me a call if you need anything. I'll be there in a minute. Seeing Tang Zheng's firm attitude, Feng Yong left reluctantly. Let's talk over there. There were too many students nearby. Tang Zheng and Lin Hu walked into a side alley. What's going on? Young Master Tang, Hoodlum brought people to sweep through my territory, saying that I killed his little brother. Everyone knows that his leader, Scarface, was killed by a malicious spirit in the unmarked common graves. He is just looking for an excuse to get rid of me and swallow my territory. Lin Hu angrily said. Scarface? Tang Zheng's head moved. He remembered that Scarface from last night. Wasn't he sent by Hoodlum to kill him? He originally wanted to find Hoodlum and find out who wanted his life. He didn't think that Hoodlum would first find Lin Hu. Looking at Lin Hu's appearance, the situation didn't look good. What happened in the end? Tang Zheng asked. Lin Hu hung his head and said in shame. I wasn't Hoodlum's opponent. My brothers risked their lives to let me escape. Saying this, his shoulders trembled. Tears flickered in his eyes, as if they were about to burst out. Tang Zheng secretly sighed. Although it was just a few words, he could imagine just how desperate the battle was. He patted Lin Hu's shoulder and comforted him. Since your brothers risked their lives to let you escape, then they wanted you to make a comeback. What are you crying for? What do you plan to do next? He raised his head and looked straight at Tang Zheng. He clenched his teeth and with a put-ong sound he kneeled on the ground. Young Master Tang, I beg you to save my brothers. Get up. A man has gold under his knees. He kneels to the heavens, to the earth, and to his parents. You don't need to kneel to me. Tang Zheng's face sank as he reprimanded. Lin Hu did not get up as he continued to speak. Young Master Tang, you said before that you don't want to get involved in matters of the underworld, so normally I don't dare to disturb you. But in the ordinary balance underworld, Huangxi has the final say. He is vicious and merciless, so he definitely won't let my brothers off. Young Master Tang, from now on I pledge to follow you. My life is yours. I only hope that you can lead my brothers out of this encirclement and get rid of those two bastards Hoodlum and Huangxi. Then we will support you in becoming the head of the ordinary balance underworld. I will be your cow and horse. Wherever you point me to, I will do it without any hesitation. Seeing this indomitable man say these words, Tang Zheng could completely understand the pain and suffering in his heart. Of course, there was also the desire for revenge. But Tang Zheng was a student and a cultivator. He really did not want to get involved in matters of the underworld. But this time Hoodlum taught him a lesson. Although Scarface and the others could not harm him, they could easily harm others. In the future, when Tang Zheng went to study elsewhere, what would happen to his grandfather? Would he also take his grandfather with him? Of course he had the strength to do so, but it was difficult to leave one's homeland. His grandfather definitely did not want to leave the ordinary balance. What if Hoodlum or Huangxi saw that they could not deal with him, and turned to deal with his grandfather? He did not dare to think of the consequences. He had experienced too many dangers and did not dare to take this risk. Even if his grandfather was in the slightest bit of danger, he would definitely strangle this danger in the cradle. His eyes gradually became sharp as it seemed that Lin Hu's suggestion was not impossible. In the past, he had been too ambitious and had neglected this problem. Although matters of the underworld made his grandfather worried, as long as he had absolute strength and grasped the power of the underworld in his hands, not only would this power not harm others, it would also ensure the safety of more people. Perhaps this was the result that his grandfather wanted to see. Moreover, this time Hoodlum had used the matter with Scarface as an excuse. This matter was related to Tang Zheng, so he really should lend a helping hand. Seeing Lin Hu kneel on the ground, his eyes fervently looking at him, he nodded his head and said, "Since we and Hoodlum and Huangxi are like fire and water, then of course we should pull them down. Stand up, I promise you." Lin Hu was overjoyed as he resolutely said, "Young Master Tang, this life of mine is in your hands. I, Lin Hu, vow to follow young Master Tang until my death. If I have second thoughts, may the heavens and earth destroy me." Tang Zheng grabbed both of his hands and helped him up. His heart gradually warmed as Tang Zheng knew that he was a person who would eventually make a name for himself. Perhaps Lin Hu would be one of his subordinates. At this moment, his heart underwent a complete change. If it was before, even though he knew that he was a cultivator and would eventually be extraordinary, he did not carefully think about what would happen. However, Lin Hu had enlightened him. Huangxi, this kind of person, would vainly try to control a part of the world. With his own great potential, if he did not think of creating his own power, then it would be a complete waste of his own good fortune. Perhaps he would not be able to reach the heights of others in a short period of time, but he could take it one step at a time. In the future, there would be a day when he would stand at the top of the world and possess his own glory. Lin Hu never would have thought that he would be the one to help Tang Zheng transform. This was perhaps the greatest benefit that he had brought to Tang Zheng. "Young Master Tang, then what should we do now?" Tang Zheng asked back. "You are more familiar with the situation than I am. What do you think we should do?" Lin Hu was startled. He knew that young Master Tang was testing him, so he pondered for a moment and said, "Hoodlum's strength is not ordinary. Originally, it would be impossible for me to deal with him. This time, I have lost many of my brothers, so dealing with him would be even more difficult. Therefore, I suggest that we work together with Fire Phoenix to deal with him." Seeing that Tang Zheng did not object, he continued to say, "Fire Phoenix has long hated Huangxi to the bone. However, she did not have the strength to resist, so she had to compromise. This time, if she knew that young Master Tang wanted to join, then she would definitely have agreed. Even though I did not say it clearly before, she is very intelligent. She had long guessed that young Master Tang was not simple, so she purposely tried to rope you in." Tang Zheng nodded his head. Lin Hu was much calmer than he had imagined. He did not say that he would immediately kill his way back. If he did, then he would only be a martial artist. This was how a brave and wise general should act. Even though Tang Zheng did not understand much about the underworld, he still understood that when the weak faced the strong, they had to unite all the forces they could to resist. Moreover, Fire Phoenix had left a deep impression on him. This woman was very careful in every aspect. She tried to win over all the people who were worth winning over. Wasn't her intentions clear as day? She was very clear that there would come a day when her current glory would no longer exist, and she would even be killed. This was why she had asked for a promise from Tang Zheng. This was a promise to save her life. It seems like she has been eyeing Huangxi covetously for a long time. When the time is right, she will definitely give him a fatal blow. "Let's go, we will go meet Fire Phoenix." Tang Zheng was very confident as he loudly said, "But first go change out of your clothes, they are too eye-catching." "Yes." Lin Hu excitedly nodded his head. "That's right, your arm is broken. First go see a doctor," Tang Zheng said. "No problem, I can endure it." Endure my ass. You will follow me in the future. So how can I let you become a cripple? Let's go, don't be so long-winded. Tang Zheng loudly reprimanded. Lin Hu did not feel uncomfortable. Instead, his heart was filled with warmth. The gloominess from his previous defeat was completely swept away. Lin Hu bought a new set of clothes and went to the clinic to treat his injuries. Afterwards, the two of them went straight to Fire Phoenix's construction company. This was the second time Tang Zheng came here, and he had a different feeling. The last time he did not want to have too much contact with Fire Phoenix, but this time he had no choice but to form an alliance with her. The changes in the world were truly unexpected. In the hall, the atmosphere was heavy. Tang Zheng could clearly feel that there were many pairs of eyes staring at the two of them. Chapter 145. The sound of high heels hitting the ground gradually came closer as Fire Phoenix leisurely walked over and said with a smile that was not a smile. Brother Hu, Brother Fei put a bounty on your head, yet you still dare to come to my place. Are you not afraid that I will capture you and bring you to him to claim credit? Lin Hu's eyebrows jumped as he self-deprecatingly said. I never thought that there would be a day when I would have a bounty on my head. Amazed face, / amazed face, / Not only did he put a bounty on your head, he also spread the news that if you do not go to him and ask for forgiveness, then Dongzi and Daozi will not be able to live. What? Lin Hu's face sank. He captured my people to threaten me? Fire Phoenix lightly smiled. He knows that you are a righteous person and knows that this is your weak point. He is certain that you will definitely go find him. Am I right? Of course I will go find him. He swept my territory and hurt my brothers. I must take revenge for this. Lin Hu gnashed his teeth. Fire Phoenix's beautiful eyes turned as she looked at Tang Zheng and said, Young Master Tang, what wind blew you here? Is Boss Fire not welcoming? Tang Zheng calmly asked. Fire Phoenix loudly laughed. Welcome, of course you are welcome. Tang Zheng looked left and right. Although there was not a single person around, he knew that there were many people secretly watching them. As long as Fire Phoenix gave the order, they would definitely attack. Fire Phoenix was truly cautious. Since Boss Fire welcomes us like this, then isn't the welcoming party a bit too grand? Tang Zheng pointed out as he asked. Fire Phoenix was slightly surprised as her people were all hidden. And yet they were still discovered by Tang Zheng. She could not help but re-evaluate Tang Zheng. Although she had repeatedly raised her expectations of Tang Zheng, it was clear that she still underestimated his strength. Young Master Tang is truly powerful. My insignificant skills have been disgraced. She waved her hand and a wave of rustling sounds rang out as her subordinates retreated. Tang Zheng nodded. Boss Fire is truly forthright. Then let us go in and talk. Young Master Tang, Brother Hu, this way please. In the same office, the three of them sat down. This time, there was no secretary. Fire Phoenix personally poured tea for the two of them. Young Master Tang, why did you come with Brother Hu this time? I've always felt that you're keeping a respectful distance from me. Fire Phoenix went straight to the point. Boss Hua, I'm not keeping you at a respectful distance. It's just that I'm a student, so there are some things that I don't want to interfere too much. But today Huzi and I came together to give you a big benefit. Tang Zheng said. Fire Phoenix laughed out loud and said meaningfully. Big benefits often mean big risks, don't you think so? Her eyes were very bright. She was a shrewd woman. Tang Zheng was non-committal and said, You can only win if you dare to fight. Isn't wealth and honor built with real swords and real guns? Especially on the streets. Fire Phoenix shook her head and sighed. I'm already old. I'm not as daring as the little girl. Fire Phoenix, don't be modest. You and I have known each other for more than 10 years. We know each other very well. How could I not know your strength? Lin Hu interrupted. Fire Phoenix asked with interest, Brother Hu, then what is this wealth and honor you're talking about? Since I don't have anything to do, I can listen. Since there was something to talk about, it was a good sign. It seemed like Tang Zheng and Lin Hu's judgment was correct. This woman was tempted. Drag Huangxi off his high horse. His territory, Lin Hu gets 60% and you get 40%. Tang Zheng said decisively. Fire Phoenix's pupils shrunk and immediately laughed. Young Master Tang, are you joking? Drag Huangzi off his high horse. No one has ever done this before. No one has ever done it before, but that doesn't mean no one will do it now, Tang Zheng said in a profound manner. Fire Phoenix stopped laughing and stared unblinkingly at Tang Zheng as if she wanted to see through him. Young Master Tang, where does your confidence come from? Ourselves, Tang Zheng said. Ourselves? Fire Phoenix's face was unprecedentedly serious. Tang Zheng's solemn vow did not mean he was an idiot, but she still could not see through him. Young Master Tang, forgive me for speaking bluntly, but I understand your situation. I don't see anything that can contend against Huangzi. Even with Brother Hu, you saw Hoodlum take care of Brother Hu by himself. What do you have to contend against Huangzi? Her gaze was sharp as she waited for the two's answer. With young Master Tang here, nothing will be a problem. Lin Hu was full of confidence as he had a kind of blind worship and trust towards Tang Zheng. Fire Phoenix, on the other hand, asked, Young Master Tang, forgive me for asking, but what is your cultivation level? 6th grade refining body. Tang Zheng answered truthfully. Fire Phoenix's eyes flashed with a trace of astonishment, as she did not expect Tang Zheng's cultivation level to be so high. Young Master Tang, I have to say that you have made me very surprised. To have such a cultivation level at such a young age, your future achievements will be limitless. But I have to ask you a very realistic question. Huangzi's cultivation level has already reached the 9th grade natal realm. Moreover, I heard that Huang Xiang recently obtained a mysterious cultivation technique, which allowed him to progress at lightning speed. He is already a 1st grade natal realm cultivator. Even with the three of us together, how do you think we can deal with the 2 pre-celestial experts of the Huang clan? Lin Hu was shocked. Huang Xiang had actually gone from the 6th grade refining body to the 1st grade natal realm in just a few short days. What kind of mysterious cultivation technique did he practice? He subconsciously looked towards Tang Zheng only to see that Tang Zheng's expression was a bit strange as he remained silent. No one spoke as they all quietly waited for Tang Zheng's answer. But at this time, Tang Zheng was actually communicating with Tian Chanzi. Didn't he say that the so-called mysterious cultivation technique he gave Huang Xiang had side effects? How did he reach the 1st grade natal realm so quickly? He was confused, so he had to ask Tian Chanzi. Hi hey little brat, what I said about side effects is definitely not wrong. That little brat's cultivation speed is a bit faster than I expected. But the faster the better. The faster he is, the more advantageous it is for you. Tian Chanzi mysteriously said. Tang Zheng curiously asked. What kind of side effects are there that you never told me? Hi hey, if he did not cultivate to the 1st grade natal realm, then this side effect would not have appeared. But since he reached it so quickly, does that mean the heavens are helping you? Tang Zheng urged. You are becoming more and more like a fraud. Quickly tell me about the side effects. Tian Chanzi did not relent. In short, you don't have to worry about dealing with Huangzi. When the time comes, I will give you a big surprise. Tang Zheng was helpless, but his heart was happy. Originally, he was prepared to let Tian Chanzi return to the sun and deal with Huangzi. Huangzi's cultivation was not enough in front of Tian Chanzi, and if he did not return to the sun, then Tang Zheng was prepared to ask Feng Xinyang or Yi Tianlei for help. In short, he had many choices, which was why he was so fearless towards Huangzi. Of course, this was his trump card and he could not tell others. But now that Tian Chanzi was so confident, he was also full of doubts. But if Tian Chanzi did not say anything, then he could not do anything. Seeing that Lin Hu and Fire Phoenix were still looking at him, Tang Zheng mysteriously said, Boss Fire, your considerations are correct. But you only considered the 3 of us and did not consider the person behind me. The person behind you? Fire Phoenix suddenly realized that Tang Zheng had such a cultivation at such a young age. He definitely had a master to guide him. Thus Fire Phoenix, like Feng Xinyang, automatically filled Tang Zheng in with an unfathomable master. Finally, Fire Phoenix's gaze towards Tang Zheng changed. Tang Zheng of course guessed what she was thinking, but he had no choice but to bring out this mysterious master to scare her. In short, Boss Fire, You do not need to worry about Huang Si. Right now we need to focus on how to cut off his hand. Hoodlum. Fire Phoenix suddenly smiled. She had waited for this day for too many years, to the point where she had almost given up all hope. She never thought that the day she had been waiting for would finally come. She could finally openly go against Huang Si, and the day she could avenge her husband was just around the corner. She excitedly said, "Young Master Tang, if this succeeds, I, Fire Phoenix, will be at your service." Tang Zheng finally smiled as if relieved of a heavy burden. "Boss Fire, then I wish for our cooperation to succeed." Fire Phoenix nodded her head heavily. She now felt that Tang Zheng's proposal to split the profits was too good for her. This was because the key to victory was in Tang Zheng's hands. Originally, it was not too much for him to ask for more profits. Lin Hu also let out a sigh of relief. His joy was evident in his words as young Master Tang had a way to actually convince her. "Young Master Tang, then we will first discuss how to deal with Hoodlum." Fire Phoenix collected her thoughts and solemnly said, "Since Hoodlum has captured Hu Zi's people, then we must definitely save them. But we must have a strategy." "Oh, what strategy? I'm all ears," Fire Phoenix said. Tang Zheng pointed at Lin Hu, indicating for him to speak. Lin Hu did not hold back as he sat up straight and solemnly said, "We will split our forces into 2 groups. I will bring people to save them. Hoodlum will definitely be on guard against me. His main camp will definitely have many people guarding it. This is a direct battle, and we can effectively contain his people. At this time, Fire Phoenix, you will bring your people to sweep his territory. As long as we can deal with Hoodlum, then these territories will naturally fall into our hands." Fire Phoenix nodded her head. "This method is not bad, but Hoodlum's main camp is too dangerous. It will definitely be the place with the most people. Brother Hu, your little brothers have been scattered, and after gathering together, there will not be many people left. So you can take some people from my side to support you." Tang Zheng shook his head. "No need. This time we will not even bring Hu Zi's little brothers. It will only be the 2 of us." "The 2 of you?" Fire Phoenix was shocked. "This is too dangerous. You must know that Hoodlum is a 5th grade body refining cultivator. Although young Master Huang is 1 grade higher than him, he still has a lot of people. When the time comes to fight, you will definitely suffer." However, Tang Zheng still insisted on his opinion. "I just want to do what others think is impossible. Not only do we have to win this battle, we also have to make our name known so that those who secretly covet us will not dare to act rashly. This kind of drastic change in the underworld would inevitably lead to some people trying to fish in troubled waters." Tang Zheng wanted to destroy these people's ambitions. Fire Phoenix still found it hard to imagine how the 2 of them could win. But since Tang Zheng was so confident, she did not try to persuade him. "Young Master Tang, relax. Tonight, don't even think about leaving a single one of Hoodlum's territories." Chapter 146. It was early evening. Yi Lai Xiang Entertainment City wasn't as crowded with luxury cars and guests as it usually was. The free novel portal was deserted tonight because the entertainment city was closed. This was the first time something like this had happened in Changheng City. It must be known that Yi Lai Xiang Entertainment City was Brother Fei's home turf, and even the police did not dare to investigate. Even when there were various crackdowns, it still stood tall, and was without a doubt the leader of Changheng City's nightclubs. But today the entertainment city was closed. This meant that there was a storm brewing in the night. Many eyes were watching this place. Although Ordinary Balance had a few big bosses who occupied most of the territory, there were also a few small powers. These small powers were most concerned about this storm. They were ready to take advantage of the situation and use this storm to climb up their ranks. In the night, the neon lights on the entertainment city signboard were still flashing. It was like a signboard, attracting certain people to come. Who knew how many people were lying in ambush in the dark? As long as the other party dared to come, there would be no return. The light footsteps gradually got closer. The spies in the dark tensed up their nerves and looked in the direction of the footsteps. That's strange. There were only 2 people. There wasn't a large group like they had imagined. But no one dared to let down their guard. Who knew if a large group of enemies would appear from any corner and catch them unprepared? These two people didn't seem to be afraid at all. It made people wonder if they were pleasure seekers who had gone the wrong way. But when the two got closer, no one doubted them anymore. They weren't pleasure seekers, but revenge seekers. But in the spies' eyes, it was more appropriate to say that they were death seekers. They recognized Lin Hu. As for Tang Zheng, they automatically ignored him. They thought that he was Lin Hu's underling. Stop. A few spies appeared and stopped the two of them. Lin Hu was not afraid at all. Although one of his arms was wrapped in bandages around his neck, he was still full of vigor, putting on the posture of a big shot. Didn't Ah Fei want to see me? I'm here. Lin Hu said indifferently. You really aren't afraid of death. You actually dared to come. Hoodlum used my brother to threaten me. So of course I would come. For my brother. What is there to be afraid of? Lin Hu's aura was like a rainbow, causing the other party to shiver. Brother Fei has been waiting for you for a long time, let's go. The two of them were brought into the entertainment city under the watchful eyes of many. The entertainment city was brightly lit and filled with hundreds of underlings. The halls and aisles were all filled with people. The two of them were truly insignificant, like a drop in the ocean. It was as if as long as Hoodlum gave the order, the two of them would be drowned in the sea of people, their heads separated from their bodies. Hoodlum sat boldly in the center of the hall, surrounded by his subordinates. He stared at the newcomer with an unfriendly expression. Two people were kneeling in front of Hoodlum. These two people were forced to kneel and were battered and exhausted. Their bodies were stained with blood, and their expressions were dispirited. However, when they looked at Hoodlum, their eyes were filled with boundless flames, flames of fury. When Lin Hu saw the two of them, he couldn't help but call out, "Dongzi Daozi." The two of them trembled and tried to turn around with difficulty, but they were firmly held down and couldn't move. In addition to being moved, the two of them were more anxious and frightened. They shouted, "Brother Hu, quickly leave. You shouldn't have come. You shouldn't have risked your life for us. Hi hey, you're loyal. This is truly a good show. It's almost time for the 8 o'clock TV show." Hoodlum clapped his hands as he jokingly said, "Hoodlum, if you have the guts then kill us. Using us to threaten Brother Tiger. What kind of hero are you?" Dongzi angrily roared. Hoodlum looked at Dongzi with disdain and said, "Do you know why you failed? Why don't you use your brains? What kind of society is this? What hero? Gee, that's just a show on TV, okay? Right now we are competing with strength. What use is a hero? A hero can only die and become someone else's stepping stone. Pay Hoodlum, if you're filthy then don't taint others," Dao Zi disdainfully said. "You're about to die, so I'll let you enjoy your mouth for a while." Hoodlum wasn't angry but instead looked at Lin Hu with interest. He also automatically ignored Tang Zheng, as in his eyes these two were no different from dead people. "How come only the two of you came today? Could it be that the other little brothers are scared and don't dare to come?" Hoodlum mockingly asked. "To deal with you, two people are enough," Lin Hu coldly said. "Oh, shameless boasting. Lin Hu, your ability isn't great but your tone isn't small. But this battle can't be won by just relying on your mouth. You have to rely on your fists. Rely on this." Hoodlum touched his chest and a gun appeared in his hand. It was Lin Hu's gun from before. Lin Hu's pupils shrunk as he was a bit alarmed. But seeing Tang Zheng's expression not change, he slightly relaxed his anxious heart. "Say it. How do you want to die, and see if I'm satisfied?" Hoodlum pointed the gun at Lin Hu and asked. "Hoodlum, let my brothers go first, and then we can talk." Hoodlum shook his head. "Catch them and then let them go. Do you think I'm so bored that my balls hurt? Since these two people are your trusted aides, then I will let them accompany you on the road to the Yellow Springs. Otherwise you'll be lonely. See how good I am to you, haha." Haha. The others also began to laugh loudly. "Brother Hu, we're not afraid of death. Our heads will be as big as a bull scar. 18 years later we'll be a hero again. At that time we'll find him for revenge. But I doubt he'll be able to live for 18 years. Dongzi passionately said. Daozi continued to say, "Right, even if we can't kill you, Hoodlum, someone else will." Hoodlum's expression turned cold as he turned the gun and pointed it at Dong Zi. Since you want to die, I won't help you. I want you to watch how I kill your boss and then send you down to accompany him. You scoundrel! Dong Zi roared. Lin Hu, if you have any last words then quickly say them. Otherwise I'll make my move. Hoodlum said. You should think of your own last words first. Otherwise you won't have the chance to say them later. Lin Hu retorted. Hoodlum shook his head. Since you're so stubborn then I'll fulfill your wish. Just as he was about to order his subordinates to make their move, Tang Zheng walked out and blocked in front of Lin Hu as he stared at Hoodlum. Tang Zheng had been silently observing Hoodlum. There was only one word. Arrogant and despotic. But in the ordinary balance world he indeed had the qualifications to be arrogant and despotic. He was a fifth-grade refining body. Tang Zheng used to fear him but now he didn't even place him in his eyes. Hoodlum didn't seem to care about Tang Zheng who suddenly stood out and said, Lin Hu, are you going to hide behind your little brother again? Tang Zheng's voice rang out. Hoodlum, who ordered you to send people to kill Tang Zheng? Tang Zheng? Hoodlum was shocked and couldn't help but sit up straight. This matter was very secretive and only a few people knew about it. But those people were either dead or crazy, so how did this little brat know? Hoodlum's eyes gradually narrowed as he stared at Tang Zheng, as if he wanted to see through him. But in the end it was futile. Who are you? Hoodlum asked with killing intent. Tang Zheng. It's you. Hoodlum was really shocked. Wasn't Tang Zheng a high school student? How did he get mixed up with Lin Hu? But the other question in his heart was immediately answered as his eyes lit up and he said, Lin Hu, you still don't want to admit that you were the one who killed Scarface's people? So you were mixed up with this little brat. Lin Hu's face was blank. Tang Zheng's heart moved as he guessed that Hoodlum must have thought that Scarface was killed by Lin Hu and didn't think that it was done by ghosts. But this was no longer important as he wanted to find out who was the mastermind behind the scenes. Tell me who is the mastermind behind the scenes, and you will die a quick death today, Tang Zheng said. Hoodlum gave a loud laugh. Little brat, have you been scared silly? You actually dare to say such big words. Fine. In any case I still wanted to find you. Since you voluntarily delivered yourself to me, then I don't need to go through the trouble. Today I will deal with all of you and none of you will be able to leave this place. Tang Zheng shook his head as Hoodlum's mouth was very stubborn. It seems that he would have to pry it open later. There was no longer any possibility for the two sides to talk as the atmosphere became oppressive, as if a great battle was about to break out. Hoodlum's eyes turned cold as he loudly shouted, Attack! Shwa! The lackeys from all directions pulled out their gleaming machetes and aimed them at Tang Zheng and Lin Hu at the same time. Tang Zheng's eyes trembled as he said in a low voice, Little tiger, follow me closely. Yes, young Master Tang. Tang Zheng moved. Before the others could move, he had already taken a large step forward and charged at Hoodlum like a fierce tiger. The two were separated by 5 meters, but in the next second he was only 1 meter away from Hoodlum. To capture bandits, one must first capture the ringleader. Tang Zheng wanted to take advantage of Hoodlum's underestimation of his opponent to instantly control him, so that he would not be defeated in this battle. Lin Hu clenched his teeth as he followed Tang Zheng. He held his knife with one hand and protected Tang Zheng's back. Ping 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 ping, metal clashed as sparks flew. He completely blocked the attacks coming from all directions. Although he was injured, he still had an absolute advantage when facing ordinary little brothers. Hoodlum's pupils constricted as he never would have thought that this unassuming high school student would be an expert. Just these few simple steps caused his heart to tense up. However, he did not believe that his opponent would be able to defeat him. After all, there was a difference in age. Hoodlum did not move as he calmly sat on the fishing platform. His finger lightly pulled the trigger. A muffled gunshot rang out as Tang Zheng slid to the left. The bullet whizzed past and hit one of the little brothers beside him. His speed was not faster than the bullet, but his reaction was faster than Hoodlum's. In the instant that Hoodlum was about to pull the trigger, he dodged. After experiencing Huang Xiang's shooting incident, he was no longer so afraid of guns. As long as he was within close range, guns would not be able to threaten him. With a slip of his feet, Tang Zheng had already arrived in front of Hoodlum, giving him no time to fire a second shot. He casually grabbed a nearby lackey's machete and swung it towards Hoodlum's arm. Hoodlum pulled his arm back. Shwa. The machete fell and chopped at the gun barrel, splitting it into two. Hoodlum's heart turned cold. When an expert made a move, he could see the depth of the attack with a single glance. He clearly understood how terrifying the power behind that attack was. A gun was not made of wood but steel. The machete was clearly not a top-notch machete, yet it was able to slice through the gun barrel with a smooth cut. Hoodlum believed that he could do the same, but he would not be able to do it as easily as Tang Zheng. He finally felt a fatal threat. Chapter 147. Under the illumination of the lights, the blade's light was particularly dazzling. Seeing that it was about to land on Hoodlum, Hoodlum roared. Attack! The little brothers on both sides who had been waiting for this opportunity swarmed towards Tang Zheng. //. Tang Zheng flicked his wrist, shwa shwa shwa. The blade's light flashed and in an instant, the people at the front were chopped to the ground, blood splattering everywhere. Tang Zheng didn't even blink. If he were to be soft-hearted at this time, he would be seeking his own death. Hoodlum took advantage of this short moment to retreat, dodging Tang Zheng's attack. He roared in anger. Kill! I'll chop them to death. Kill! Shouts shook the heavens. Tang Zheng and Lin, who were immediately surrounded by the crowd. Tang Zheng's gaze locked onto the distant Hoodlum. His opponent was too cunning, actually dodging his sure-kill attack. The tide of people made it difficult for the two to move. They could only face the attacks coming from all directions. Young Master Tang, don't worry about me. Go and catch Hoodlum. Lin, who anxiously roared. Can you hold on? Facing the tide of attacks, if Tang Zheng left, Lin, who would be in danger. I won't die yet. As long as you catch Hoodlum, their attacks will collapse. Tang Zheng looked at Hoodlum, who was hiding behind the crowd, and gritted his teeth. Okay, then you be careful. He chopped down the enemy in front of him, and then leapt up. He flew over the crowd like a great rock, spreading its wings and pouncing towards Hoodlum. *CK. You can't even block this. Seeing this, DeFei's heart trembled. Stop him. Blades glittering with cold light flew towards Tang Zheng's legs. Tang Zheng stepped on top of the crowd's heads. Ping 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 ping, many of the weapons were kicked away by him. Hoodlum's pupils shrank. He was an expert in using his legs. Seeing that Tang Zheng's leg techniques were not weak, he was overwhelmed with shock. How could this brat be so powerful? He had never heard of such a fierce person before. Seeing that Tang Zheng had already passed through the crowd and was right in front of him, Hoodlum knew that there was no way to dodge. He stepped forward bravely and ruthlessly lashed out at Tang Zheng. It was really like a whip dancing in the air. The sound of breaking air was loud and terrifying. Tang Zheng looked down from above and raised his leg to meet the other party. Bang! With a muffled sound, the two of them retreated at the same time. Hoodlum retreated to the wall before stopping, while Tang Zheng only retreated a little before his foot landed on the head of one of them. Tang Zheng then took advantage of the momentum and charged forward again, throwing out the machete in his hand. Whoosh! The machete shot towards Hoodlum like a dart. Hoodlum was overwhelmed with shock, and hurriedly pulled over a subordinate beside him. Puff! The machete actually pierced through his body and into his subordinate's body. The subordinate spat out a mouthful of blood and looked at the trembling machete in his chest in disbelief. Brother Feiyu. The subordinate turned his head with difficulty, but Hoodlum didn't even look at him. He tossed the subordinate aside and attacked Tang Zheng, who had already landed on the ground. A move capable of sweeping away 1,000 armies. Pung! Tang Zheng took this attack head-on. Hoodlum couldn't help but be delighted. This move of his had taken down many enemies. It was as heavy as 1,000 caddies and could almost instantly break a person's leg. But in the next second, he watched in horror as Tang Zheng's body only swayed a little before he actually stood there unscathed. Hoodlum knew that the situation wasn't good, but he didn't retreat. Instead, he launched a series of attacks with his legs. His legs were densely packed, as if he wanted to completely envelop Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng also made his move, his hands flying as he used the Heaven Gathering Hand. Hoodlum was not worthy of him using the Heaven-Gathering Immortal. Once the Heaven-Gathering hand was used, the sky was filled with hand shadows, one by one blocking the opponent's chain kicks. With a muffled sound, Hoodlum's leg took Tang Zhang's attack. His entire leg was abnormally sore, and he couldn't muster any strength. Fuck, this brat's strength is too great. Hoodlum cursed inwardly. Before he could react, Tang Zhang attacked again. This time, his attacks were even more ferocious and had an unstoppable momentum. Hoodlum retreated, retreating again and again until he couldn't retreat anymore. Tang Zhang continued to advance until he forced Hoodlum into a corner. Suddenly, a blood-curdling scream rang out. Tang Zhang couldn't help but turn his head to look. He saw that Lin Hu had already been completely surrounded and was covered in blood. Hoodlum suddenly had an idea. He took the opportunity to quickly flee to the side. He already understood that he wasn't Tang Zhang's opponent, and his heart was incomparably shocked. Tang Zhang had been watching Hoodlum from the corner of his eyes. Seeing that Hoodlum wanted to escape, he couldn't care less about Lin Hu. He had to capture Hoodlum. Stop! Tang Zhang roared, and arrived like a flash of lightning. Hoodlum heard the sound of the wind behind him, but he still didn't dare to stop. The lackeys on both sides were completely unable to block Tang Zhang. Wherever Tang Zhang passed, people would be thrown off their feet. Seeing that the opponent was already behind him, Hoodlum had no choice but to counterattack with a move of the divine dragon tail. Suddenly his body trembled. His leg was caught by Tang Zhang. Hoodlum cursed inwardly. With a cracking sound, the pain instantly spread to his nerve endings, causing him to involuntarily cry out in pain. His scream was very miserable. Everyone subconsciously looked over and saw their boss's miserable appearance. Tang Zhang directly broke Hoodlum's leg. Then with a pull, Hoodlum returned to his side. Tang Zhang's hand shot out like lightning and locked onto Hoodlum's neck. This series of attacks was like moving clouds and flowing water. It perfectly illustrated the true meaning of violence, causing people to tremble in fear. Stay your hand. Your boss is in my hands. Tang Zhang roared, his voice was deafening. Everyone looked on in shock. Among hundreds of people, he was actually able to catch Hoodlum. This move of his had reached perfection. It was truly an eye-opener, and caused people's hearts to tremble. Bravery that couldn't be stopped by 10,000 men. This was truly not a legend. Hoodlum felt the pain, and only after a while did he regain his senses. His face was already dripping with cold sweat. Ever since he started cultivating, he had never been in such a sorry state. Now even if he wanted to escape, it would be useless. This was because one of his legs was already broken. Even if it was reconnected, his martial arts would be greatly reduced. He was filled with regret and hatred. How did he provoke such a calamity? But now regret was useless. With a cold face, he looked up at Tang Zhang and said, "What exactly do you want?" "First tell your lackeys to retreat," Tang Zhang said with killing intent. Hoodlum hesitated for a moment before loudly roaring, "Didn't you hear? Everyone retreat." Everyone looked at each other in dismay as they retreated like a tide to the entrance of the hall. They watched this scene from afar. "Little brat, today my skills are not as good as yours and I have fallen into your hands. However, behind me is Grandpa Huang. If you touch me, Grandpa Huang will definitely not let you off." Even though Hoodlum had been captured, his aura was still the same. This was because he believed that Tang Zhang would not dare to kill him, so he would not lose face in front of his lackeys. Lin Hu, whose body was covered in blood, cut off the ropes on his two lackeys. He stared at Hoodlum with wide eyes and said, "Hoodlum, you want to use Grandpa Huang to scare us?" "I am not trying to scare you. Ordinary balance is decided by Grandpa Huang. So what if you beat me this time? You still won't be able to cause any big waves. Grandpa Huang's one word is enough to make you die without a burial ground," Hoodlum said with disdain. Tang Zhang revealed a cold smile. "It seems that in your eyes, Huang Si is no different from a deity. Let me tell you, he is nothing in my eyes. I will also clearly tell you that since I dared to make a move against you, I have no intention of shaking hands with him." Hoodlum looked at Tang Zhang in shock and said, "Where does your courage come from? You may have won against me, but that does not mean you are Grandpa Huang's opponent. Little brat, let me tell you, you are still too inexperienced." Grandpa Huang is not someone you can contend against. Tang Zheng laughed as he was too lazy to discuss this issue with him. He went straight to the point and said, Hoodlum, today we are not only here to meet you. Your other territories have already been swept away by Fire Phoenix. Huang Si is just a general without an army. Tell me, what kind of waves can he cause? What? Hoodlum's face turned pale as he had made a mistake. He did not even consider that Fire Phoenix would jump out and sweep away his territory. This slut, I have not dealt with her for so many years, and she actually bites back at me. Lin Hu said. Hoodlum, you and I both know who killed Fire Phoenix's husband. If she doesn't go against you, who would she go against? Hoodlum's face suddenly changed as he hatefully said. It seems like she already knew about what happened that year. I have always said that I wanted to get rid of this slut. But Grandpa Huang said that a woman was not a cause for concern. I never would have thought that today would come. Tang Zheng and Lin Hu looked at each other. It seems like their guess was not wrong. Fire Phoenix's husband really was killed by Huang Si. Sooner or later you will have to pay for what you did. What else do you have to say? I have nothing to say. Just wait for Grandpa Huang's anger. With a single order from him, you will become the enemy of ordinary balance. You will all die without a burial ground. Hoodlum said as he gnashed his teeth. Tang Zheng asked without batting an eyelid. Then is this your dying declaration? What, you really dare to kill me? Hoodlum was overwhelmed with shock. Lin Hu laughed. Haha. Did you think we were joking? Young Master Tang's words carry enormous weight. If he says you will die, then you will not live past tonight. If I die, then you will all be buried with me. Hoodlum's eyes flashed with panic. He had always been so unyielding because he believed that the other side did not dare to kill him. As long as they killed him, then they could only fight to the death with Huang Si. He did not think that the other side would be so determined. This was not something he could understand. Tang Zheng coldly laughed. Then you just wait and see who will be buried with you. Lin Hu, let's go. Under the watchful eyes of everyone, of course they would not kill him. Moreover, Hoodlum had so many little brothers. If Hoodlum died, then who knew if these people would go crazy and attack him? Thus they needed this hostage. Tang Zheng escorted Hoodlum with Lin Hu and the other two following behind him as they walked towards the door. The crowd was stirred up as they were eager to give it a try. Your boss is in my hands. If he dares to make a move, I will kill him, Tang Zheng said with killing intent. Everyone was afraid of attacking the rat for fear of breaking the vases. They all looked towards Hoodlum, hoping that he would give them an order. However, they saw Hoodlum's panicked expression. He opened his mouth wanting to shout, but nothing came out. Tang Zheng had already used his qi to seal his throat, so how could he shout? Thus, under the watchful eyes of the crowd, the few of them walked out of the hall. The hundreds of people did not dare to act blindly without thinking. Lin Hu and the other two held their heads high and stuck out their chests. Ordinary balance had never had this kind of battle before. This battle would undoubtedly spread throughout the ordinary balance and become a hot-blooded story for the future generations. After all, winning with fewer people was something that the children of Jianghu loved the most. The few of them had just walked out of the entertainment city when they saw a large group of people rushing towards them. Chapter 148. Everyone looked at the group of people brimming with killing intent. Lin Hu was pleasantly surprised. It's Fire Phoenix. Tang Zheng nodded his head and several people went forward to welcome them. Fire Phoenix saw several people grabbing Hoodlum and could not hide her surprise. Young Master Tang, Brother Hu, all the other places have been swept by my people. I was worried that there would be problems here, so I rushed over. I didn't think that you would act so quickly. She was still worried that the two of them were not strong enough, so she rushed over to help, but it seems that her worries were unnecessary. Looking at the battered and exhausted Hoodlum, Fire Phoenix let out a sigh of relief and asked, Young Master Tang, what do we do now? Tang Zheng turned his head to look at the entertainment city and lightly said, Sweep this place as well. Good brothers, let's move and sweep this place. Kill. Fire Phoenix angrily roared as the people behind her charged towards the entertainment city like a tide. Not only were these people men, but there was also an army of women. They were even more ferocious than the men, and were especially eye-catching. Tang Zheng could not help but take a few more glances. Hoodlum's subordinates were already in a state of panic. Seeing so many people charging at them, even though they had the advantage in numbers, they could only cover their heads and flee like rats. This was what it meant when the backbone of a team fell. The team would not be able to withstand a single blow. Hoodlum, look at your people. They are like stray dogs. What can Huangxi use to fight me? Tang Zheng jokingly said. Hoodlum's eyes were spitting fire, but he was powerless. Let's go. We need to properly entertain him. Tang Zheng carried Hoodlum into the car. He still had not figured out who sent Hoodlum to kill him, so of course he would not kill Hoodlum so quickly. Young Master Tang, I'll go with you. Fire Phoenix caught up. Tang Zheng nodded his head and several people got into the car. They arrived at a remote old house, and Tang Zheng threw Hoodlum heavily onto the ground. Hoodlum let out a pitiful cry as he was finally able to speak. However, one of his legs was twisted and he was unable to stand. He could only lie on the ground in a sorry state. Hoodlum, before you die, let me ask you a question. Who sent you to kill me? Tang Zheng asked. I won't tell you. But as long as I die, you definitely won't have an easy time. The police will come looking for you. You took me away in front of everyone. You can't get away with it, haha. Hoodlum thought for a while and finally came up with a plan. He was gambling on his last chance of survival. Dongzi patted his chest and volunteered. Young Master Tang, as long as you can kill him, I'll take the blame. Dongzi, don't fight with me, I'll take the blame. Hehe, from now on I Daozi's name will be big. After killing Hoodlum, there will still be people who will remember me decades later. Daozi took a step forward and said, This is none of your business. Lin Hu angrily said, Hoodlum, since you want to kill me, then I will kill you. If the police come looking for me, I will accept it. As long as I can cut off Huangxi's arm, then it will be worth it. Hoodlum looked at the several people in panic. These people really didn't fear death, and were willing to take the blame. What are you all arguing about? Who said you were going to take the blame? Tang Zheng coldly glanced at the several people, causing them to immediately shut up. Tang Zheng was careless and didn't think of this point. He only wanted to get rid of Hoodlum, but didn't think that this would attract the police's attention. However, Hoodlum couldn't be left alive, otherwise there would be no end of trouble. Fire Phoenix looked at Wolf and suggested, Young Master Tang, we definitely can't leave any evidence for the police to use against us. Tonight's operation was so big that no one died, so it is still within our control. If someone really died and it was Hoodlum, then the police will definitely investigate. For a murder case, the police definitely wouldn't ignore it, especially when it was a fight in the underworld. As long as someone died, the police would definitely investigate to the end. This had always been the rule, and was also a red line. As long as this red line was crossed, then the police would intervene. Lin Hu and Fire Phoenix were well aware of this principle. Only a layman like Tang Zheng didn't know. So it's fine as long as we leave him alive? Tang Zheng asked in a deep voice. Fire Phoenix shook her head and said, Young Master Tang, if he doesn't die and the police ask him, then it will be troublesome. Moreover, if he doesn't die, then he will think of ways to get revenge. Being remembered by him is not a good thing. Hoodlum's eyes were about to split open as he angrily stared at Fire Phoenix. His last hope of survival had been extinguished. Fire Phoenix, you slut. If you don't see me die, then you won't be satisfied? Fire Phoenix stared at him and said, If you don't die, then of course I won't be satisfied. That year when my husband died, do you dare say you had nothing to do with it? I regret not getting rid of you that year. That's why you have today. It's too late to regret. Young Master Tang, let me kill him. From now on, take good care of my brothers and I will die in peace. Fire Phoenix said indignantly. Tang Zheng shook his head. No need to say any more. He doesn't need to die and you don't need to convict him. How can we do that? Leaving him alive is a disaster. Several people anxiously advised. Hoodlum's eyes lit up as a trace of hope appeared in his heart. As long as he didn't die, then he would have a chance to make a comeback and take revenge. Tang Zheng saw the intention in his eyes and coldly said, "Hoodlum, you don't have a chance anymore. Although I won't kill you, from now on you are no longer yourself." Several people looked at Tang Zheng in confusion, not knowing what these words meant. They only saw Tang Zheng's palm cover Hoodlum's head. Hoodlum lost his head out of fear and shouted loudly, "Tang Zheng, what are you doing? Since you won't tell me the secret, then I can only take it myself." Tang Zheng used his soul-searching technique and Hoodlum's shouts came to an abrupt end. His eyes stared blankly and gradually became sluggish. The others looked at this scene in shock, not knowing what had happened. After a while, Tang Zheng released his hand and Hoodlum was dumbstruck, not reacting in the slightest. "Young Master Tang, what happened to him?" Fire Phoenix asked in shock. "He turned into an idiot. This way he won't be able to take revenge and won't cause trouble for the police." Fire Phoenix's heart trembled as she had underestimated Tang Zheng. She didn't think that he would have such a method. Lin Hu hatefully said, "This is simply letting him off too easily. But this is also the best outcome. Throw him outside Huang Xi's house and see how that old dog reacts." Tang Zheng ordered. Lin Hu's eyes lit up. Right, Huang Xi's expression will definitely be wonderful when he sees him. His proudest disciple, his personal chosen representative, has turned into an idiot. Haha, this is simply a joke. Tang Zheng wasn't happy as he was shocked by the secret in Hoodlum's mind. The mastermind behind all of this was actually Song Donghua. Speaking of which, he didn't have any deep enmity with Song Donghua as he was only pretending to be Lu Qingmei's boyfriend. He didn't think that Song Donghua would hold a grudge and actually want his life. "Lu Qingmei, I'm afraid you didn't think that pulling me to put out the fire would almost push me into a fire pit." Tang Zheng mocked himself as if he didn't use the soul-searching technique to obtain this information. He would also find it hard to believe. "Song Donghua, I have no enmity with you. Since you want to kill me, I won't let you off so easily." Song Donghua was after all a government official, so Tang Zheng couldn't directly kill him. However, the most painful thing for a government official was not to kill him, but to destroy his career. The information in Hoodlum's mind could easily destroy Song Donghua's career. This was because every time Hoodlum gave Song Donghua money, there was a record and even a recording. This was why Hoodlum was a smart person and knew to grab hold of the other party's weakness. Otherwise, when Song Donghua bites back at him, he wouldn't be able to defend himself. This actually benefited Tang Zheng. "Tiger, Fire Phoenix, Huang Xi has suffered a great defeat this time, so he will definitely be enraged. Therefore, the two of you better take care of yourselves. It would be best if you don't go out during this period of time. I will find some time to meet with Huang Xi. Once I settle everything, you two can then show off your skills," Tang Zheng warned. "Young Master Tang, when are you going to deal with Huang Xi? I will go with you. He killed my husband, so I want to personally kill him and avenge my husband," Fire Phoenix hatefully said. "Dealing with Huang Xi, it would be better for me to go. You two can just wait for my results." Tang Zheng did not agree as Huang Xi was too powerful. When the time came, he would have to use magic and he did not want others to see it. Seeing that Tang Zheng had already made up his mind, the two of them had no other choice but were curious as to what methods Tang Zheng would use. After the few of them separated, Tang Zheng went to Hoodlum's house. The record and recording were all hidden in a safe. He easily snuck in and found that there was no one in the house. He directly walked in front of the safe, put on the gloves he had prepared and entered the password. With a kacha sound, the safe opened. Tang Zheng immediately saw the record and a thumb drive. In addition, there was actually a lot of money in the safe, probably no less than 1 million. Hey, this is really an unexpected harvest. But since I came, I can't go back empty-handed. Tang Zheng found a big bag and stuffed the million in cash into it. He then took it home and had a good night's sleep, completely ignoring the chaos in the ordinary balance underworld. Early the next morning, he carried his bag and arrived at school. Coincidentally, he saw Lu Qingmei coming out of the car, so he went to greet her. "Teacher Lu, good morning." Lu Qingmei raised her head and suspiciously looked at Tang Zheng. Did the sun rise from the west? This little brat had always been avoiding her, but this time he actually took the initiative to greet her. Lu Qingmei slightly nodded and said, "What's the matter?" Tang Zheng took out a bag from his bag and handed it over to her and said, "Teacher Lu, I have a few things for you." "What is it?" Lu Qingmei was very curious. "Good stuff." Tang Zheng mysteriously smiled. "Didn't you want to kick away that annoying fly, Song Donghua? The things in here can do that." As long as Song Donghua's career ended, he would be too embarrassed to continue bothering Lu Qingmei. This blow was definitely more painful than death. Seeing Tang Zheng acting so mysteriously and making such a solemn vow, Lu Qingmei's curiosity was piqued. During this period of time, she had been annoyed to death by this stubborn dog skin plaster. Last time's ball did not seem to have dispelled his enthusiasm. She really did not know how this person's skin was so thick. "Where did you get these things?" Lu Qingmei asked. Tang Zheng shrugged his shoulders. "I picked them up on the side of the road. I thought they would be useful to you, so I gave them to you." After speaking, he waved his hands and confidently walked towards the classroom. Lu Qingmei stared at him and muttered to herself, You're so young yet you dare to act cool in front of me. I want to see what you gave me. If you dare to play tricks on me, I won't forgive you." She opened the bag and saw the account book. After flipping through a few pages, her face changed. Chapter 149. As the daughter of the governor, Lu Qingmei had been exposed to too many official matters from a young age. She understood the power of this account book too well. This was much more powerful than a gun or a few bullets. Not only did the account book record the fact that Song Donghua had accepted bribes, but it also recorded a few other officials. However, these officials were much more inferior compared to this secretary. Song Donghua was clearly the most deeply involved. Even though he was young, his courage was not small and had accepted millions of dollars worth of bribes from hoodlum. Lu Qingmei's heart was in turmoil as she could not help but look in the direction that Tang Zheng had disappeared in. Picked up from the side of the road? Who are you kidding? These things were not something that could be casually obtained, so how did he get them? She felt that she could not see through this student of hers. Tang Zheng was like an enigma that made people want to find out more about him. She pondered for a moment before sitting back in the car and speeding home. She had to do something to get rid of this dogskin plaster Song Donghua from her life. In addition, she was also very curious as to what other shocking things were in that USB drive. Once she reached home, she impatiently turned on her computer and plugged in the USB drive. There were several audio and video files in the USB drive. She first opened the audio file and heard Song Donghua's voice. When he was receiving bribes, he didn't even know that his voice was being recorded. He really is stupid. Lu Qingmei curled her lips and snorted. What could this video be? She curiously opened it and was immediately dumbstruck. A man and a woman were in bed, and this man was Song Donghua. Song Donghua, you really are not a good person. She flew into a rage and opened a few more videos. One of them was actually Song Donghua and two other women together. Pa. She closed the video and fiercely slammed the mouse on the table as she gasped for breath. Her full chest heaved up and down as she was extremely stimulated by these scenes. This kind of black sheep is still an official. It's simply harming people. If he is promoted to a higher position in the future, who knows how many people he will harm? I must peel off his official skin. Lu Qingmei had always been calm and even indifferent, but this time she was really angry. Just as she was thinking about what to do, the phone rang. Hello. She answered the phone in annoyance. Qingmei, why are you so angry? Who made you angry? A gentle voice sounded. Lu Qingmei's expression changed slightly as she asked in a stiff tone. Why are you looking for me? Can't I call you if there's nothing? I'm your father. How are you doing in ordinary balance? I won't die. You should worry about your official position. I don't have anything for you to worry about. Lu Qingmei said coldly. Obviously, the relationship between this father and daughter was not very harmonious. Father Lu did not mind as if he was already used to her attitude and said, Yesterday your uncle Jiang and his secretary Xiaosong came to see me and talked about you. You said the two of them went to see you and Song Donghua? Lu Qingmei interrupted his words. That's right. I heard that Xiaosong is chasing you. This child looks quite mature. You can observe him. You're not young anymore. It's time to consider your marriage. Father Lu said earnestly. So you're saying that Song Donghua is very suitable to be your son-in-law? Lu Qingmei suppressed her anger and asked. I didn't say that I had decided on him, but since the two of you are of a suitable age, you can try to interact with him. Haha, your eyes are really good. Lu Qingmei was so angry that she laughed. I'll send you a few things. You can take a look at them before commenting. She slammed down the phone and sent a recording and a video over. Not long after, her phone rang again. Father Lu's voice became serious and even a little angry. Where did you get these things? You don't need to know where I got them. Didn't you say that Song Donghua was very good? Then what are your thoughts after seeing these? Lu Qingmei jokingly asked. Father Lu said in a deep voice, I only met him once, so I don't have a complete understanding of him. However, how does Jiang Yongda lead his troops? He actually kept such a black sheep by his side? This kind of person is an official. No wonder so many people are scolding you as officials. None of you are good people. Her words also included her own father. Father Lu did not mind and helplessly said, Qingmei, after so many years, are you still angry at me for what happened that year? To you it has been many years, but to me, it seems like it was just yesterday. I can't forget. Lu Qingmei's voice was filled with anger and heartache. Father Lu did not continue this topic and said, Since Song Donghua is this kind of person, then we can't let him continue to fish in troubled waters. I will have Jiang Yongda thoroughly investigate. Don't make a big noise. Later, I will send this information to the Commission for Discipline Inspection. Qingmei, don't act recklessly. Song Donghua is Jiang Yongda's secretary. If the Commission for Discipline Inspection investigates Song Donghua, then what if it implicates Jiang Yongda? Father Lu sternly said. Lu Qingmei loudly laughed. As expected, you officials are all jackals of the same tribe, afraid of being implicated. If he is clean, then why would he be afraid of being implicated? Whether he is clean or not, it is not up to you to decide. The struggle in the government is very complicated, and is not as simple as you think. Even if he is clean, he will still be implicated because of this matter. Listen to me, you cannot act recklessly. Your uncle Jiang is the next candidate for the municipal committee secretary. You cannot drop the ball at this time. Father Lu warned. Jiang Yongda was one of his people. If he was investigated, then his reputation would not be good. Moreover, in the future, Jiang Yongda would be a great help to Father Lu. The considerations of those in the government were far more complicated than others. Lu Qingmei, as the daughter of a government official, was very clear about the stakes involved. She compromised and said, Fine, then I will see what kind of result you will give. If it does not satisfy me, then I will definitely not give up. Lu Qingmei angrily hung up the phone and fiercely stared at the computer. Jackals of the same tribe. Song Donghua did not know that his fate had quietly changed. He had contacted Hoodlum early in the morning to ask about Tang Zheng's results. However, he found that his phone could not be reached. He could not help but feel angry. What was this Hoodlum doing? He could not even deal with a high school student. He was becoming more and more useless. If it was not for the fact that he was generous and gave money very quickly, he would not have bothered with him. Forget it, let's wait a bit more. In any case, this Tang Zheng is dead for sure. He dared to come between me and Lu Qingmei. He is simply seeking his own death. He arrived at the city hall and walked towards his office. Along the way, many people respectfully greeted him. He was arrogant and enjoyed the admiring and envious gazes of others. He believed that as long as he could deal with Lu Qingmei, there would be even more people looking at him with such gazes. He would then reach a height that these people could not reach. This is my fate. Fate has allowed me to meet Lu Qingmei. If I do not take advantage of her, then wouldn't it be a waste? A waste would be shameful. He was very pleased with himself. His mind could not help but think of Lu Qingmei's curvy figure. His heart was burning. When would he be able to get her on his bed? Thinking of this, the desire in his heart surged even higher and became restless. Later, I will ask Hoodlum to arrange another woman for me. Last time, that pair of sisters was truly ecstatic. While thinking, he walked to the door of his office. He tidied up his clothes and returned his face to normal. He then pushed open the door and entered. Boss, you came so early. He saw Mayor Jiang Yongda standing in front of the window, looking out with a serious expression. When Jiang Yongda heard this, he turned around to look at him and said, "Come in with me." Song Donghua was Jiang Yongda's secretary. Their offices were connected. Jiang Yongda's office was inside while Song Donghua's was outside. If an outsider wanted to report to Jiang Yongda, then they would have to wait in the outside office for Song Donghua to report. Song Donghua had already been with Jiang Yongda for 2 years. He was very clear about his boss's temper and habits. Seeing his serious expression, his heart thumped as he guessed. Which bastard made boss angry again? Hey, to dare make boss angry, this time they will suffer. He respectfully walked in and gently closed the door. He found that Jiang Yongda had already walked to the front of the office desk and suddenly turned the computer monitor around. He pointed at it and said, "Take a look at what this is." Then he walked to the side as if he did not want to see what was on the computer. Song Donghua curiously walked over and looked at the computer. Just as he looked at it, his face changed and became uglier than a dead person. His body uncontrollably began to tremble. On the screen was a man and 2 women having sex. Wasn't the male lead him? Weren't the female leads the 2 sisters that he was still in love with? Boom. His brain felt as if an atomic bomb had been detonated. He felt dizzy and his legs went soft. With a putong sound, he knelt on the ground. Jiang Yongda coldly looked at him. This video was sent by his old leader. When he saw it, it was as if he had been fiercely slapped in the face. That feeling was unforgettable. He originally wanted to play matchmaker between Song Donghua and Lu Qingmei. After all, if his secretary was able to climb up this branch, then his future political capital would be stronger. But he never thought that things would turn out like this. He really wanted to slap himself twice. His old leader's voice was very serious, causing his heart to feel uneasy. If his old leader had a problem with him, then his dreams of becoming the secretary of the municipal party committee could no longer be fulfilled. He really wanted to kill Song Donghua. All of this was because of him. Song Donghua felt that his doomsday had arrived. Only after a long time did he come back to his senses. Seeing his boss's ashen face, he hurriedly said, "Boss, this was all set up by others. The reason they attacked me like this was because they wanted to harm you." Song Donghua knew how to divert the attention of others. This was a very clever move. By tying Jiang Yongda to his chariot, this matter could be turned into a small matter and a small matter into nothing. Unfortunately, he had miscalculated. Not only did Jiang Yongda not have a common enemy, he instead angrily roared, "Do you know who gave this to me? Governor Liu." What? Governor Liu? Song Donghua's face was ashen. A few days ago, he thought that he had left a good impression in front of Governor Liu. But today he saw this. Didn't all of his efforts go to waste? How could he still have a chance to climb up the branch? As if he had lost his parents, he lost his soul and muttered to himself, "How could Governor Liu have this thing? Lu Qingmei gave it to him." Jiang Yongda bitterly said, "How could he face the father and daughter of the Liu family in the future?" Chapter 150. Song Donghua did not know how he left the office. It was as if he had lost his soul. Even when people greeted him, he did not respond. Now, when he heard those greetings, it was as if they were mocking him. Free novel portal Jiang Yongda did not hand him over to the Commission for Discipline Inspection, nor did he punish him. He only sent him to a remote village to be a village official. He was still a part of the system, but what use was that? Once he was sent to that remote place, no one would remember him. He would never have the chance to return to the center of power. The only thing he could do was to wait for death. He gasped for breath, feeling as if he was about to suffocate. His eyes were in a daze. He was furious. "Lu Qingmei, didn't I chase after you? You actually used such a method to deal with me. You instantly knocked me from the immortal realm to the mortal realm. Too ruthless. Also, hoodlum, you actually secretly recorded it and that damned video. He was filled with regret and hatred, but he did not dare look for hoodlum for revenge. Before, he could rely on his status to make hoodlum treat him with respect, but now he was nothing. Looking for hoodlum? That was simply seeking death. Thus, he transferred all his hatred and anger onto Lu Qingmei. It was all because of this woman that my reputation was ruined. I lost everything. Without power, what difference is there between me and death? You won't let me have an easy time, so I won't let you have an easy time either. At worst, we will all die together. Before I die, I will obtain you and let you know how powerful I am. Song Donghua's eyes were filled with anger and hatred as he reluctantly looked back at the majestic city hall. He then quickly ran to the parking lot, started his car and quickly drove towards Pengqing International School. Seeing that he was about to reach the school entrance, a fashionable mini car entered his line of sight. It was this car that had left a deep impression on him. Lu Qingmei, stop right there. Song Donghua loudly roared as he stepped on the accelerator and rammed into the car. Peng. The mini car was knocked askew and almost flipped over as white smoke rose from the hood of the car. Song Donghua's car also stopped, and he quickly jumped out. Seeing that Lu Qingmei had already been caught in the airbag, he immediately pulled her out and carried her into his car before quickly driving away from the scene. This series of actions was extremely clean and quick, as if it had been rehearsed. Song Donghua's car had already disappeared into the endless traffic before the people who saw the car accident could even scream. Pengqing International School was an aristocratic school. The public security and traffic here were very good. There had never been a car accident, let alone a kidnapping in broad daylight. It made people wonder if the scene just now was an illusion. The school security guards quickly rushed over. When they saw the mini car clearly, one of them exclaimed, "Isn't this teacher Lu's car?" Lu Qingmei was like a crane in a flock of chickens among all the teachers. She was too beautiful and too cold. Her reputation as the Ice Mountain Goddess was loud enough and influential enough. Even the security guards couldn't help but look at her from afar. Naturally, they were very familiar with her car. Lu Laoshi had been kidnapped. The news seemed to have grown wings and quickly spread to every corner of the school. Whether it was the teachers or the students, especially the males, all of them were filled with righteous indignation. They all said that they would save Lu Laoshi. A hero saving a beauty. Moreover, it was the Ice Mountain Goddess. If this move moved the Ice Mountain Goddess's heart, then wouldn't they be able to hug the beauty and make a fortune? Thus, they all contacted their friends and family to track down the car. They also wanted to find the bastard who kidnapped Goddess Lu and tear him to pieces. Damn, to even have the heart to kidnap the Ice Mountain Goddess, he really didn't know how to show mercy to the fairer sex. Luckily, the security guards remembered the license plate number, so they quickly found out that the owner of the car was Song Donghua. Regardless of whether the kidnapper was Song Donghua or not, the most important thing was to rescue Lu Laoshi. Tang Zheng was also shocked by the news, especially when he heard that the owner was Song Donghua. He didn't even need to think too much to conclude that this was definitely done by Song Donghua. He was too crazy to actually kidnap Lu Qingmei. Tang Zheng guessed that it was the information he gave to Lu Qingmei that angered Song Donghua. So Tang Zheng couldn't shirk the responsibility. Moreover, Lu Qingmei was his class teacher, so he couldn't stay out of this matter. Grade 12 Class 7, the original Hell class, was now a model student class. No matter if it was the boys or girls, no one was in the mood to attend class. They all clamored to find Lu Laoshi and mobilize the power of the masses to find that bastard. While everyone was brainstorming, Tang Zheng walked out of the classroom. Feng Yong looked at him and shouted, "Boss, where are you going?" "We are discussing how to save Lu Laoshi." "I'm going to the restroom." Tang Zheng quickly walked to the end of the corridor and dialed Lin Hu's number. "Huzi, help me find a car. A bastard kidnapped my class teacher, and she is currently in this car. Even if you have to dig 3 feet into the ground, you have to find her." Lin Hu hurriedly said, "Which bastard dares to kidnap young Master Tang's class teacher?" "Young Master Tang, what car is this?" Tang Zheng hurriedly described the car's license plate, model and color. He had seen Song Donghua drive this car before, so it had left a deep impression on him. Young Master Tang, don't worry. Now that ordinary balance is our brother, we will definitely find this bastard. Lin Hu said with righteous indignation. Go and do it quickly. Inform me as soon as you have any news. Tang Zheng urged. Hey, who are you calling? Yi Dingdang unknowingly appeared behind Tang Zheng and fiercely patted his shoulder as she asked. Tang Zheng jumped in fright and shouted. Hey Yi Dingdang, people can scare people to death. In the future, don't secretly stand behind me. Be careful that I don't hurt you. Yi Dingdang curled her lips and said. I'm not porcelain, how could I be hurt so easily? Moreover, aren't you only one level higher than me? You talk as if you're so strong. Tang Zheng shrugged his shoulders. In any case, I'm stronger than you. Yi Dingdang coldly snorted and said. Let me tell you, I've been practicing the Jade Women's Heart Sutra and have made great progress. I believe that I will soon reach the 6th grade refining body and catch up to you. Tang Zheng waved his hand and said. Wait until you catch up to me. Then he walked towards Fang Shirshir. Seeing the two of them holding hands intimately, Yi Dingdang angrily stomped her feet and gritted her teeth as she muttered. Show off your love and break up quickly. Fang Shirshir held on to Tang Zheng and worriedly said. Tang Zheng, do you think something will happen to Teacher Lu? Tang Zheng shook his head as he did not dare to guarantee anything. Without a doubt, Song Donghua had already lost his wolf, and with his vengeful personality, he was capable of doing anything. If something really happened to Lu Qingmei, Tang Zheng would feel very guilty as he had an unavoidable responsibility. Do you have a way to save Teacher Lu? Don't you know some friends from the underworld? Fang Shirshir asked. Tang Zheng nodded his head. I've already contacted them and they are investigating. Once they have any news, they will inform me. The person who kidnapped Teacher Lu is too evil. I don't even know what kind of deep hatred he has for Teacher Lu. Fang Shirshir wrinkled her nose and hatefully said. It was very difficult for a normal person to make Fang Shirshir feel hatred, as she was a very kind girl. However, Song Donghua was able to do this. From this, it could be seen that he had done something that angered both humans and gods. Of course, the ones who were angry were not only the teachers and students of Pengcheng International School, but also the police and Jiang Yongda. A kidnapping in front of the school. And it was a kidnapping of a teacher. With such a big incident, the police were the first to rush to the scene, and the one leading them was the old acquaintance Deng Maokai. He really had a headache. Why were there so many things happening in the school recently? He really did not want to come to Pengcheng International School, as there were two people he did not want to see. One was Tang Zheng, who had something on him, and the other was Lu Qingmei, who seemed to have a deep background. But when he heard that it was Lu Qingmei who was kidnapped this time, his back was drenched in cold sweat. God, are you playing with me? Deng Maokai wanted to cry but had no tears. Lu Qingmei had actually been kidnapped. Although Deng Maokai did not know Lu Qingmei's identity, he was sure that she was a great bodhisattva, and he could not afford to offend her. For such an important person to be kidnapped in his district, he felt that he had reached the end of his career. This was truly an unlucky year. Just as his heart was about to turn to ash, the investigation of the kidnapper's car came out, and the owner was actually Song Donghua. At this moment, Deng Maotsai's heart almost stopped beating. Was there a mistake? Song Donghua kidnapped Lu Qingmei? Wasn't the relationship between the two of them good? He did not dare to confirm whether or not the kidnapper was Song Donghua, so he hurriedly reported it to his superiors and finally to Jiang Yongda. Jiang Yongda was already very unhappy and nervous. He did not know what his old leader would think of this matter, and suddenly heard that his own secretary had kidnapped his old leader's daughter. He almost had a heart attack, but luckily he grabbed onto the table and did not fall to the ground. He hurriedly dialed Song Donghua's phone, but it was already turned off. He was almost certain that this matter was done by Song Donghua. He definitely could not accept this cruel reality, so he wanted to take revenge on Lu Qingmei. Jiang Yongda was filled with regret, as he should not have told him that it was Lu Qingmei who gave him the information. What should he do now? He immediately gave the order to mobilize the entire city's police force to use all means to track down the two people's whereabouts. Then he fearfully dialed his old leader's number. This news was too important, and he did not dare to hide it. Afterwards, he did not even remember how he finished explaining this matter. In short, the old leader was very angry, and the usually cultured and refined leader almost cursed out loud. Jiang Yongda knew how much the old leader treasured his daughter, and truly treated her as the apple of his eye. But now she had been kidnapped by his secretary. Jiang Yongda felt that his career had come to an end. Secretary of the municipal committee stopped dreaming. But even if he had to retire, he had to rescue Lu Qingmei. Moreover, he had to rescue her unharmed. Otherwise, he would die a very ugly death. Jiang Yongda cursed Song Donghua's 8 generations of ancestors. Song Donghua, you really deserve to die. Chapter 151. The Hell class was in an uproar, and no one could suppress their anger. Even when the school leaders came, they didn't care about anything. Everyone stopped attending class and rushed to the streets to look for Lu Qingmei's whereabouts. Sogu 360, Soso searched JDXS to download novels for free. Tang Zheng also took the opportunity to walk onto the street. Deng Maokai saw Tang Zheng from afar and wanted to avoid him, but he realized that Tang Zheng had already seen him. He braced himself and walked over with a bitter smile. Long time no see. Tang Zheng nodded without batting an eyelid. He didn't have any bad feelings towards Deng Maokai. Although this person wasn't a good person, he knew when to advance and retreat. He knew that Tang Zheng had something on him, so he didn't rashly do anything. Seeing that Tang Zheng had no intention of chatting, Deng Maokai awkwardly said, "Then you go ahead and do your work. I'll continue to look for Teacher Lu. The entire city's police force has been mobilized. I'm going crazy." Tang Zheng's heart skipped a beat. "Chief Deng, please wait." Deng Maokai embarrassedly asked, "What's the matter?" Tang Zheng stared at him with a burning gaze. Deng Maokai was actually a little afraid of his gaze. How could a high school student's gaze be so sharp that it made him want to retreat? However, he did not dare to leave, as the black gauze hat on his head was still in Tang Zheng's hands. But now he was a lot more relaxed, and lightly said, "Tang Zheng, in the past we had a bit of a misunderstanding, but that is all in the past. If you have anything you need my help with, then quickly tell me, because I won't be able to be the director for long. This time, such a bad kidnapping case occurred in my area, so I will definitely be held accountable." When Deng Maokai said this, he couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Since his career was going to be over, then the evidence in Tang Zheng's hands was insignificant. When Tang Zheng heard that Deng Maokai had actually taken the initiative to offer his help, and was even respectful towards him, he had a new idea. He pretended to be mysterious and said, "I'll give you a great merit. I wonder if you dare to accept it?" "Great merit?" Deng Maokai smiled bitterly. "What great merit can there be now? Save Lu Qingmei." Deng Maokai was stunned. He sucked in a breath of cold air, and looked at Tang Zheng in disbelief. "What did you say? Don't you want to find her? You saved her, so you can keep your position, right?" Tang Zheng asked. Tang Zheng had indeed acted on a whim. Hoodlum's efforts to curry favor with Song Donghua had given Tang Zheng a great deal of inspiration. Since his men were going to make a living in the ordinary balance underworld in the future, it would be very troublesome if they didn't have official resources, especially the resources of the police. Since Deng Maokai was very obedient, Tang Zheng didn't mind nurturing him. The higher Deng Maokai went, the better it would be for him. At some point in time, Tang Zheng's consideration of problems had become more comprehensive, and his thinking had gradually moved away from the category of a high school student. Deng Maokai was shocked by this news and was overjoyed. "If I can save Teacher Lu, then not only will I not lose my position, I might even be promoted. Let me tell you, I just received news that you, Teacher Lu, are actually the daughter of the provincial governor." Tang Zheng suddenly understood, but was also slightly shocked. Even though he had guessed that Lu Qingmei's background wasn't ordinary, he didn't think that she would be the provincial governor's daughter. This Song Donghua was really desperate. Kidnapping the provincial governor's daughter, he was seeking his own death. "Then this merit, do you dare to take it?" Tang Zheng asked. Deng Maokai hurriedly nodded his head. If he didn't take it, he would be an idiot. However, he was puzzled. The last few times he only saw that Tang Zheng was extraordinary. But this time he was looking for someone. Just relying on one person's martial arts was not enough. If you believe me, then follow me. If you don't believe me, then you can continue to look for her yourself. Tang Zheng lightly said. Deng Maokai did not know where Tang Zheng's confidence came from. After hesitating for a moment, he clenched his teeth and said, "Let's go. Where do you want to go? I'll drive you." Tang Zheng nodded his head and got into the police car with Deng Maokai. A moment later, the police car stopped at a street corner, and another SUV came up. Lin Hu stuck his head out and looked at Tang Zheng in shock. "Young Master Tang Yu." Tang Zheng waved his hand and said, "Lead the way." "Ai okay." Lin Hu was full of suspicion. He did not know why Tang Zheng brought a police officer with him. Tang Zheng gave this merit to Deng Maokai for another reason. Since all the police in the city were looking for Lu Qingmei, then how could he extricate himself after rescuing Lu Qingmei? He could not say that he used the power of the underworld to find Lu Qingmei. In short, he needed someone to help him clear his name, and Deng Maokai was undoubtedly the best candidate. Deng Maokai glanced at Lin Hu and was shocked. He recognized Lin Hu, the underworld boss who was in the limelight recently. He actually heard Lin Hu call Tang Zheng young Master Tang. His heart was full of doubts. He was very clear about Tang Zheng's identity. Why would this boss call him young Master Tang? Moreover, his respectful appearance was definitely not fake. Moreover, was there a need for this kind of boss to fake it? Deng Maokai nervously glanced at Tang Zheng from the corner of his eyes. He found that his face was calm and did not reveal any clues. He gradually understood that this high school student was not as simple as he originally thought. Although he already thought that Tang Zheng was not simple. He also suddenly understood why Tang Zheng could confidently say that he could find Lu Qingmei's whereabouts. It turned out that he had the help of these underworld people. Deng Maokai's heart gradually became warm and his eyes lit up. It seemed that he could really rescue Lu Qingmei. Then his good luck had come. He originally thought that Tang Zheng was his nemesis, but now it seemed that he was his lucky star. Suddenly his attitude towards Tang Zheng changed. Within the reverence, there was a trace of respect. The two cars sped towards the northern outskirts of the city. Looking at the houses on both sides, Deng Maokai suddenly realized. Our police were searching the city and thought that he would not be able to escape. But it seems that he had already escaped. No wonder we could not find any clues after so long. Tang Zheng nodded. Although Song Donghua has become a mad dog, his intelligence is still there. Of course he would try to escape the city as soon as possible. Young Master Tang, the other party's car has already stopped in front of a dilapidated house on the highway. It seems that they are about to make a move. Lin Hu finished his call and roared at Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng's face sank. What Song Donghua wanted to do, even a fool could guess. He had always coveted Lu Qingmei's beauty. Wasn't this a chance to get close to her? Quick, let's go faster. Tang Zheng roared. The two cars also roared as they increased the throttle and sped towards their destination. Song Donghua really did want to do something. After he successfully kidnapped Lu Qingmei, his mind became much clearer. He knew that he had made a big mistake, but there was no medicine for regret in this world. He could only walk down this path to the end. But he did not want to be caught, so he took advantage of the time when the police had not yet reacted and sped towards the northern part of the city. The northern part of the city had a complicated terrain, and the surveillance was the worst. He could take advantage of this to escape. Additionally, the northern part of the city was easy to get out of the province, making it even easier for him to escape. Seeing that there were no cars chasing after him, Song Donghua's anxious heart finally relaxed. He discovered that Lu Qingmei was still unconscious, but her voluptuous figure made him unable to concentrate on driving. Seeing an abandoned courtyard on the highway, his heart was moved. Since he had time, why not take advantage of this opportunity to eat this beauty that he had been drooling over for so long? His desire immediately took control of his thoughts as he turned the steering wheel and drove into the courtyard. The courtyard was surrounded by walls, and he parked his car inside. The people outside would not be able to see him. He impatiently carried Lu Qingmei out. That soft and delicate feeling caused his blood to boil. He could not wait to immediately take advantage of Lu Qingmei. Song Donghua looked tall and strong, but after living like a prince for so many years, he did not have much strength. Carrying Lu Qingmei, who was around 100 kilograms, was still a bit strenuous. He huffed and puffed as he carried her into the house and threw her onto a pile of straw. Pung. Lu Qingmei felt the pain and finally woke up. She was in a daze and her head was still a bit dizzy. She only remembered that her car had been hit, and then she was knocked unconscious by the airbag. She forced herself to open her eyes and gradually saw her surroundings. She could not help but be astonished. Where was this place? Why was it so dirty and messy? Slut, this time you are mine. This daddy will let you know my strength. Suddenly, an angry roar caused Lu Qingmei's nerves to instantly tighten, and a sense of crisis spontaneously arose. Song Donghua, it's you. What do you want? Lu Qingmei finally saw the person in front of her. His face was completely different from the cultured and refined person from before. His face was gloomy and his face was filled with madness and lust. Her heart jumped to her throat as she said, Song Donghua, don't do stupid things. You are an adult. Do you know what this means? F***ck, don't lecture me. Right now it is this daddy who has the final say. Song Donghua suddenly roared. Lu Qingmei's heart trembled as she subconsciously shut her mouth. Suddenly, Song Donghua proudly said, Slut, you dare to act all high and mighty in front of this daddy? I tried so hard to chase you, but you did not appreciate it at all. Instead, you got together with your student, Tang Zheng. So it turns out you like that kind of brat. You really are a slut. Lu Qingmei raised her eyebrows and angrily said, Song Donghua, don't slander me. There is nothing between me and Tang Zheng. But at the same time, she could not help but remember that night when she had intimate contact with Tang Zheng. Something had indeed happened between the two. Do you think this daddy will believe you? Although you have already been done by that brat, this daddy does not mind doing it again. I have been waiting for this day for a long time. Song Donghua's eyes were filled with lust. No, Song Donghua, do you know that this is a crime? Do you want to go to jail? Haha, jail? In any case, I already have nothing. What is the difference between that and jail? Isn't all of this thanks to you? You actually collected dirt on me and had Jiang Yongda send me to a remote village. What is the difference between that and killing me? Since you don't want me to have an easy time, then I won't let you have an easy time either. But I will bring you along with me. I can do whatever I want with you and whenever I want with you. Haha. You never thought that there would be a day like this, right? You are crazy. Lu Qingmei's face was deathly pale as she looked around. She did not know where she was and she wanted to run, but there was nowhere to run. Chapter 152. Song Donghua had really gone crazy. He was like a wolf drowning in lust as he fiercely pounced towards Lu Qingmei and roared. This daddy is crazy. This daddy wants you. Pa. Lu Qingmei fiercely slapped him across the face. Net. But this did not make him afraid. Instead, it aroused his ferocious nature as he fiercely grabbed Lu Qingmei's hands and pressed them against the grass. At this moment, Lu Qingmei's towering chest became even more firmly attracting Song Donghua's gaze. He licked his lips and exclaimed, So big, you must have let that little brat Tangjing play with you many times. Now it's this daddy's turn to play with you. Lu Qingmei was heartbroken. Although she usually had a cold appearance, it did not mean that she was indifferent to this kind of situation. She felt disgusted, ashamed, and also a deep sense of despair. This was truly a situation where she could neither cry for help nor cry for help. At this moment, she could not help but think of the scenes of heroes saving beauties in movies, but this was reality. In reality, how could there be so many miracles of heroes saving beauties? Song Donghua, I will kill you. Lu Qingmei clenched her teeth as a teardrop fell from the corner of her eye. Haha, you can't kill me. I will have you now. Song Donghua grabbed her shirt and fiercely tore it apart, causing the buttons to fall off, revealing her black bra and the snow-white skin underneath. Song Donghua's eyes were about to spit out fire as he forcefully swallowed his saliva and exclaimed, So big and so white. This daddy wants to properly taste it. No. Lu Qingmei screamed. But Song Donghua had already grabbed her bra and used all his strength to knead it. Haha, this is so good. You beast, I will not let you go. I will kill you. Haha scream. The louder you scream, the more excited this daddy will be. Song Donghua's hand quickly slid down and grabbed onto her skirt, fiercely pulling it down. Poochie, the skirt was directly torn apart as it retreated to her knees, revealing her black laced underwear. Song Donghua's eyes widened as he praised. So beautiful, these legs are really strong. As he spoke, he reached out to grab her legs and began to stroke them. Lu Qingmei's heart was like dead ashes. Who can save me? Bang. With a loud bang, the tattered wooden door was fiercely kicked open, and a few people rushed in. Song Donghua's good deed was interrupted and he angrily roared. Which bastard ruined this daddy's good deed? Bastard. A furious roar sounded out, and Song Donghua only saw a fist enlarging in front of his eyes before fiercely smashing into his face. With a kacha sound, his nose was broken and blood splattered everywhere. He screamed and fell to the ground. Tang Zheng raised his leg and kicked him directly into the courtyard. This was a living person who weighed more than 50 kilograms, yet he was sent flying more than 10 meters with just one kick. This showed the power of this kick. Deng Maotsai's heartstrings trembled, and the corner of his mouth twitched involuntarily. Then their gazes fell on Lu Qingmei, who was on the haystack. She was only left with her underwear, and her spring scenery was extremely alluring. Get out! Tang Zheng roared with red eyes. Seeing this, Lin Hu hurriedly pulled Deng Maokai out of the courtyard. Tang Zheng had already seen Lu Qingmei's body once, and could not help but admit that it was very beautiful and alluring. But this time he did not have any romantic thoughts, only pity and heartache. Lu Qingmei was almost defiled and he could not absolve himself from the blame. Although Song Donghua did not succeed in the end, looking at her terrified and miserable appearance, where was the cold and indifferent appearance of an ice goddess? This caused Tang Zheng to fall into deep self-blame. Teacher Lu, you're fine now. Tang Zheng squatted down and approached her. Scram. Bastard. Beast. Lu Qingmei trembled, showing her most delicate side, like a beautiful flower that had been blown by a storm. Teacher Lu, you're fine now. No one can hurt you now. Tang Zheng tried to approach, but Lu Qingmei was clearly in a state of great fear, and did not know that she had already escaped danger. Tang Zheng approached her. Although her beauty was alluring, he still quickly took off his clothes and prepared to put them on her. Seeing him take off his clothes, Lu Qingmei was even more agitated and crazily roared. Beast, you're not allowed to come near me. She then stretched out her hand and hit Tang Zheng. Her bra was already loose and with her movement, two large snow-white breasts suddenly jumped out and trembled in front of Tang Zheng, emitting endless temptation. Tang Zheng resisted the urge to touch them with great difficulty. Seeing Lu Qingmei pouncing towards him, he opened his arms and quickly pulled her into his embrace. Lu Qingmei, on the other hand, seemed to have gone mad as she punched and kicked Tang Zheng. Seeing that it had no effect, she bit his shoulder. Hiss. Tang Zheng sucked in a breath of cold air. Are you a dog? I'm trying to save you, but you bite me. Tang Zheng wanted to cry, but no tears came out. Moreover, he had already taken off his clothes. His bare chest was tightly pressed against Lu Qingmei's chest. She was kicking and making a fuss, constantly rubbing against him. This was simply a heavenly temptation. Tang Zheng used all his strength to suppress the restless flame in his heart. He quickly put his clothes on her body and shouted, Lu Qingmei, wake up! This roar was like a sudden clap of thunder. It blew her mind and made her stop moving. Teacher Lu, you're safe now. Quickly put on your clothes. Seeing that her eyes gradually regained their luster, Tang Zheng quickly comforted her. Lu Qingmei finally regained her consciousness. She stared blankly at Tang Zheng. So there really was a hero saving a beauty and it happened to her. At this moment, she had mixed feelings. There was the joy of surviving a calamity, and also a deep gratitude towards Tang Zheng. Hearing Tang Zheng's words, she subconsciously lowered her head and saw that her chest was tightly pressed against Tang Zheng's chest, and it was even squashed flat. She couldn't help but feel embarrassed. Facing Tang Zheng, she didn't seem to have the same nausea as before. The natural shyness of a woman returned to her body. She quickly grabbed Tang Zheng's clothes and wrapped herself up, blocking the scene that was tempting to commit a crime. Tang Zheng let out a sigh of relief. If this continued, he would follow in Song Donghua's footsteps. The temptation was simply too great. Put on your skirt as well, Tang Zheng reminded. Although the skirt was torn a little, it could still cover some of the important parts. Lu Qingmei's face turned red all the way down to her neck. She quickly put on her skirt and buttoned up her bra, covering most of the scenery. Now she was wearing Tang Zheng's large t-shirt which barely covered her buttocks. Below, she was wearing a skirt with a large hole in it. Her white thighs were faintly discernible. At this moment, Tang Zheng still underestimated her charm. This half-covered scenery was even more tempting than before. Tang Zheng took a few deep breaths to calm himself down. Lu Qingmei's attention was attracted by the bloody teeth marks on Tang Zheng's shoulder. She couldn't help but think of her previous actions and guiltily said, "Tang Zheng, I'm sorry." Tang Zheng shook his head and said, "It's fine. As long as you're okay, I'm relieved." This simple sentence touched the softest part of Lu Qingmei's heart. Tears flowed from her eyes. She had already shed her usual coldness and revealed the true and weak side of a woman. She suddenly threw herself into Tang Zheng's embrace and began to cry like a little girl who had been wronged. Tang Zheng was slightly startled. He secretly sighed and gently hugged her. He patted her back and gently comforted her. "Don't be afraid. It's all in the past. Everything will be fine." Lu Qingmei, other than hugging her father when she was young, had never thrown herself into another man's embrace. But at this moment, she couldn't help but throw herself into Tang Zheng's embrace. She felt unusually warm and at ease. This boy who was a few years younger than her didn't have broad shoulders. But it was like a harbor, firmly protecting her and allowing her heart to calm down. In the courtyard, several people watched this scene from afar with different thoughts. Deng Maokai had seen the relationship between Tang Zheng and the underworld. Now that he saw him being so close to the governor's daughter, all sorts of feelings welled up in his heart. But at the same time, he rejoiced that he wasn't stupid enough to go against Tang Zheng. Otherwise, he would probably be in the same miserable state as Song Donghua. At the same time, Deng Maokai gradually made a decision. If before he was filled with reverence towards Tang Zheng, now there was a trace of admiration. Moreover, he couldn't help but no longer see him as a high school student. Instead, he saw him as an important person who was much more powerful than him. Not only was he strong, but he also had great potential. Now that Tang Zheng had the governor's support, his future prospects were limitless. Deng Maokai knew that his chance for promotion had come. As long as he held on to Tang Zheng's thigh, he would be able to eat the meat while he drank the soup. That way, he would be able to reach a height that he didn't dare to imagine. Lin Hu's thoughts were much simpler. He didn't know Lu Qingmei's identity, but he subconsciously believed that this little girl wouldn't be able to escape from young Master Tang's grasp. A hero saving a beauty was too romantic. It was simply one of the best ways to capture a beauty. Song Donghua was battered and exhausted as he lay on the ground. The blood on his face blurred his vision. He gnashed his teeth as he stared at the pair hugging together. He unwillingly and angrily roared. "This daddy knew that you and Tang Zheng had an affair. You still dare to pretend to be pure and virtuous. You pair of dogs, this daddy will kill you." Song Donghua had already been completely blinded by his hatred and anger. When Lin Hu heard this, his expression changed. He kicked Song Donghua in the stomach and cursed. F***K. You dare to scold young Master Tang? This daddy will kill you. He was truly incomparably fierce. Song Donghua's body was curled up like a shrimp as he continuously sucked in cold air. He no longer had the strength to speak. Lu Qingmei stood up from Tang Zheng's embrace, her face red. Song Donghua had always believed that she and Tang Zheng had an affair. This made her angry and embarrassed. "Tang Zheng, don't listen to his nonsense." Tang Zheng shrugged and said, "It's just a mad dog. Why listen to his barking? Come, let's go meet this mad dog." Tang Zheng casually grabbed Lu Qingmei's hand and walked out. Lu Qingmei was slightly startled but didn't struggle. Instead, she felt a great sense of security. Chapter 153. Tang Zheng led Lu Qingmei into the courtyard and faced Song Donghua. He did this not to show off, but to help Lu Qingmei walk out of her shadow. Please. Without a doubt, Song Donghua's actions had left a huge shadow in Lu Qingmei's heart. Tang Zheng had once read a story in a book about a girl who did not dare to face her past after being raped. She was immersed in despair and pain until she finally committed suicide due to depression. Tang Zheng did not wish for Lu Qingmei to follow the same path, so he struck while the iron was hot and got rid of the shadow and fear in her heart. As expected, when they approached Song Donghua, Tang Zheng could clearly feel her nervousness and fear. Tang Zheng did not stop and directly walked in front of Song Donghua and looked down at him. Song Donghua trembled as he curled up on the ground, fiercely staring at the two. He was about to curse when he saw Tang Zheng's quick reflexes. Pa! A foot stepped on his finger, causing Song Donghua to scream in pain. When Lu Qingmei heard this scream, she subconsciously wanted to escape, but was tightly held back by Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng gently said, "Don't be afraid, he is no longer a threat to you. He is just a dead dog and what awaits him is prison time." Tang Zheng's voice was like magic infinity, causing Lu Qingmei to involuntarily calm down. Looking at the painfully screaming Song Donghua, the fear in her heart gradually disappeared and she fiercely said, "This kind of person must be severely punished, otherwise who knows how many more people he will harm." Tang Zheng let out a breath of relief. As long as she dared to face Song Donghua, the shadow in her heart would disappear by more than half. He nodded and said, "He can forget about harming others in the future. Chief Deng, why haven't you arrested him yet?" Deng Maokai was eager to show off in front of Lu Qingmei. He fiercely lifted Song Donghua up and took out a pair of handcuffs to cuff him before dragging him to the side. Tang Zheng then said to Lin Hu, "You guys go back first." Lin Hu and the others didn't say much and quickly left the courtyard. "Who are they?" "My friend. How did you find this place?" Tang Zheng pointed at Deng Maokai who had walked to the entrance of the courtyard and said, "Chief Deng felt that Song Donghua would run in this direction, so he brought me along to chase after him. Fortunately, we arrived in time." Deng Maokai stopped and nodded towards Lu Qingmei. He was secretly delighted as he quickly dragged Song Donghua into the car. "Let's go back," Tang Zheng said. Lu Qingmei nodded as the two held hands like a couple as they sat in the police car. Song Donghua was directly stuffed into the trunk as no one wanted to see him. "Are we going to the police station?" Deng Maokai turned a blind eye to their intimate actions and asked cautiously. Lu Qingmei nodded. Deng Maokai acted as if he had been injected with chicken blood as he sped towards the police station. On the way, he had already informed his superiors that he had already rescued Lu Qingmei and had even captured Song Donghua. This news seemed to have grown wings as it quickly spread to the ears of the relevant personnel. So when Tang Zheng and the others arrived at the police station, they were followed by a long line of cars. Many people almost trotted over, and the one at the front was Fang Jiangyongda. When he heard the news that Lu Qingmei was safe and sound, the stone in his heart was slightly lifted and he rushed over without stopping. But when he saw Lu Qingmei's appearance, he couldn't help but feel his heart beating wildly. Although Song Donghua did not succeed in the end, it was clear that he had already begun his beastly actions. This could be seen from the fact that Lu Qingmei was wearing someone else's clothes. Of course, he also saw the topless Tang Zheng, but he couldn't care less about Tang Zheng as he quickly walked in front of Lu Qingmei and said with concern, "Qingmei, it's great to see that you're fine. I was worried to death." Lu Qingmei once again returned to her cold appearance, and was even colder than before. She didn't even have the slightest trace of a smile, and didn't say a word. Jiang Yongdao awkwardly coughed as his gaze turned towards Song Donghua. He immediately flew into a rage and fiercely slapped Song Donghua's face as he angrily roared, "Song Donghua, you bastard! You actually dare to kidnap someone in broad daylight. Who gave you the dog guts?" Song Donghua was like a stray dog as he hung his head dejectedly. He didn't even dare to talk back as he obediently hid beside the car. He no longer had any of his previous arrogance. Relying on his anger to commit such a vile crime, he clearly knew what kind of result awaited him. Put on. His legs went soft and he knelt in front of Lu Qingmei. He kowtowed like he was pounding garlic and begged, "Qingmei, please forgive me. I didn't do it on purpose. Please spare me and tell them not to send me to prison." Lu Qingmei's face was cold as she didn't say a word. Seeing this, Jiang Yongda hurriedly waved his hand in disgust. "Drag him away. Qingmei, please let me go. I'm not a human, I'm a beast. Please let me go." Song Donghua desperately begged. "Since you admit that you're a beast, then you should be locked up in a cage," Lu Qingmei said without any trace of politeness. Jiang Yongda hurriedly gave a look to his subordinates, and Song Donghua was dragged into the police station. Ji. Suddenly, another car stopped in front of the police station, and a 50-year-old man quickly stepped out. When he saw Lu Qingmei, he quickly walked over with an expression of concern. "Qingmei, are you all right?" Lu Qingmei coldly looked at the person and said, "I won't die. Father was worried to death. Luckily, your mother's spirit in heaven protected you, so you're all right," Governor Lu said with lingering fear. The atmosphere in the police station became heavy, because the arrival of the governor made everyone hold their breath. This small police station had never had such a big figure come before. "Don't mention my mother," Lu Qingmei said without any trace of politeness. Governor Lu was a little embarrassed as he turned his gaze to Jiang Yongda and sternly asked, "Yongda, what happened? Your secretary actually kidnapped my daughter. How did you lead your soldiers?" Jiang Yongda's legs went soft as he ignored the cold sweat on his forehead and hurriedly explained, "Old leader, it was my fault. I didn't protect Qingmei well. Song Donghua's actions were also out of my expectations. I didn't think that he would be so crazy. I cannot shirk the responsibility." Governor Lu waved his hand and interrupted his self-reflection and said, "Did you catch the person?" "We caught him." "How did you catch him?" This. Jiang Yongda was speechless as he didn't know the exact details. Lu Qingmei pointed at Deng Maokai and said, "It was Police Chief Deng who saved me." Deng Maocai's heart bloomed with joy. This joy was even stronger than when he first married his wife. He used all of his willpower to hold back his smile, solemnly saluting Governor Lu, sonorous and powerful as he said, "This is what I should do as a people's police officer." Governor Lu looked deeply at Deng Maokai and took the initiative to extend his hand. Deng Maokai hurriedly grasped it with both hands as his excitement was written all over his face. Only this kind of police officer can protect the people. Good. Governor Lu praised. Everyone else looked at Deng Maokai with envy. This little brat had run into dogshit luck to actually obtain such a large contribution. With Governor Lu's words, Deng Maokai was definitely going to be promoted. Deng Maokai was extremely excited as he couldn't help but secretly look at Tang Zheng. All of this was bestowed upon him by Tang Zheng. Suddenly, he felt that Tang Zheng was simply his second parent. Tang Zheng was shirtless and was particularly eye-catching in this group of officials and police officers. However, his eyes were focused on his nose, and his nose was focused on his heart. He didn't have stage fright at all. Governor Lu's gaze finally fell on Tang Zheng's body as he asked, "This is?" Jiang Yongda didn't have a chance to interrupt until he heard Governor Lu's question. He finally found a chance to interrupt and impatiently said, "He is Qingmei's boyfriend." Boyfriend? Governor Lu's gaze trembled as he stared straight at Tang Zheng. The others were also extremely shocked. Governor Lu's future son-in-law. Heavens, they had to remember this face. In the future, they had to curry favor with him. Tang Zheng helplessly looked at Lu Qingmei. For the first time, she didn't explain anything. Instead, she pulled on Tang Zheng and said, "I want to go home." The others naturally didn't dare to stop her. Although they still had to record her statement, special people obviously needed special treatment. Governor Lu nodded. "I'll send you back." "No need, I'll go back myself." "Tang Zheng, let's go." Tang Zheng was pulled and left the police station under everyone's gaze. The two sat in a taxi and Tang Zheng finally couldn't help but sigh in a low voice. "I didn't think your identity was so illustrious." Lu Qingmei wrinkled her eyebrows and said, "He is him and I am me. Don't confuse him with me." "Your relationship isn't good?" Lu Qingmei hesitated for a moment before saying. In the past, in order to get promoted, He didn't even come back to see my mother when she was seriously ill. Until my mother died, I didn't see him again, so I hate him. I don't like officials. Tang Zheng suddenly realized why their relationship was so stiff. When the two returned home, Lu Qingmei told Tang Zheng to sit down. I'm going to take a shower, you sit for a while. Tang Zheng nodded, indicating that she could do as she pleased. The warm water drenched her body from top to bottom. Lu Qingmei gradually calmed down, but her heart still had a lingering fear. Looking at her curvaceous body, this body that was enough to make countless men go crazy actually brought her such a disaster. But fortunately, Tang Zheng saved her. Through the frosted glass, she couldn't see Tang Zheng clearly, but she could feel his presence. It was as if with him sitting there, her heart would calm down. The corner of her mouth couldn't help but curve into a smile, and her heart gradually changed. After taking a shower, she came to the living room and handed the clothes to Tang Zheng and said, "Put it on, otherwise you'll catch a cold." Tang Zheng quickly put it on, and a faint fragrance entered his nose. Only then did he suddenly remember that this clothes had intimate contact with her. This was her scent, and he couldn't help but feel restless. Lu Qingmei also seemed to realize this point, and her face was a bit red. She quickly changed the topic and said, "In order to thank you, I'll personally cook something delicious for you tonight." "No need to be so polite." "What? You won't give me a chance to thank you?" "Okay then. Let's go, accompany me to buy groceries." Lu Qingmei returned to her ice goddess appearance, but her tone was a bit more intimate. There was a market not far downstairs, and the two went home after buying groceries. Lu Qingmei was busy, and Tang Zheng was forbidden from entering the kitchen, so he could only helplessly sit on the sofa and watch TV. Ah! Suddenly, a scream came from the kitchen. "You're tuning in to the Li Mei Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure."